his hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authoritative man. I'm ready to die, but not for love. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandre, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Petersburg, Clearwater, in Honolulu, Hawaii, and streaming live on 1787network.com. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, the Princess of Pain, the Duchess of Destruction, Danielle Alexandre. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Are you well?
I'm doing well.
Are you liking the new intro? Are you liking that?
You know, it threw me off this morning, I think, because I'm so used to the old one, because it's been, over 2 years that I've listened to the old one every Friday morning, that when I heard the voice come on, I was like, oh, what happened? And then it took a second for me to remember.
I got you. You doing well?
I'm doing well. I don't know if I like it or dislike it. It's just different right now. I have to get used to it. But I am doing well.
It's like Excedrin. Little, yellow, different, better. Also in studio, working the controls as well as he can, the Minister of the Sinister, Greg Bowen. Greg, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Spectacular.
Are you feeling well?
I am. Well, I'm a little sick. It's going around.
Oh, is it?
I'm ignoring it.
Hold on. When I get sick, the simple cure is I just ignore it.
I ignore it. I just stop being sick and start being awesome. True story.
I stop being sick and I start being awesome.
That is cool.
You got to write a book for that. Actually, that ought to be the book. Actually, just a pamphlet.
When you're not feeling well, just stop being sick, start being awesome.
That's a good point.
It's simple.
It's a very good point.
It's better than Obamacare.
It's cheaper. That's for dang sure. All right, well, let's get right into the news because there's a lot going on.
There is.
I know that Danielle has a ton of prep here.
I actually have so much prep, I don't think we'll get to it all today.
Well, I'm going to make it my goal to see if we can.
Oh, no, that means you just run through everything, and all of a sudden, right when me and Greg want to say something, you're like, okay, moving on.
Exactly.
Well, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to balance. I'm going to try to have a balance today. And the balance is going to be we get to the stories and everybody gets to talk.
Okay.
Unlike the Wednesday show. So let's get right into it. Danielle, what is the first thing up today?
Well, the Civil Liberties Oversight Board, which is a kind of like a governmental appointed board. So they are a part of the government, but they're not elected officials. But, this is a board that's been around for a long time and gives a lot of influence over the House and the Senate and the president. But the Civil Liberties Oversight Board ruled the NSA to be illegal this past week.
The entire NSA?
Yeah, they said that the programs, the blanket, collection of metadata, things like that, are definitely a violation of our constitutional rights. It's not legal. There's no warrants that they're using. Even the tacit approval from the FISA courts really isn't enough for the amount of data they're collecting, and on who. Because they're doing it on everyone instead of very targeted, they've ruled the entire program and the way it's running illegal.
I got you. Now, you got this from The Guardian.
Yeah, now it has been everywhere. It's been in the New York Times. It's been in the Washington Post. I mean, the actual story is around everywhere. The one that I happened to be looking at and pulled for you guys was from The Guardian.
I got you.
Just because I like them better.
Yeah, I got you.
I trust them more than anyone in this
Now,
country.
one of the things here that I thought was very interesting is in this report, there's actually a quote. They quoted the report, and it says, "Moreover, we are aware of no instance in which the program directly contributed to the discovery of a previously unknown terrorist plot or the disruption of a terrorist attack."
Yeah, and that's true. And this is we actually spoke to a college class over this past week, so I had done a lot of research on the NSA program, and we've talked about it before, but these massive collection of metadata has only really resulted in about 4 actual investigations, and out of those 4, all of them were found to either be the wrong person or not actually terrorist activity. It was just a misunderstanding.
So this is really funny though. I always love this. Is that so? You have this agency that's here, this 5-person panel that's here. They issue a complete report as to all of the reasons as to why this is bad. And this is the kind of the funny part I think about this. If it was candidate Obama and not President Obama and Bush was still in office, this report would be the first thing that all of these guys would be talking about. People like Obama would be actually talking about. And this is also from this article from the Guardian, and this is from the president. National Security Councilwoman Catalin Hayden. So they say they disagree with it, of course, because they want to keep spying on people. But this is what they say: consistent with the recent holdings of the United States District Courts for the Southern District of New York and Southern District of California, as well as the findings of 15 judges of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court on 36 separate occasions over the past 7 years, the administration believes that the program is lawful. As the president has said, though, he believes that we can and should make changes to the program that will give the American people greater confidence in it. So they basically just said that this report's full of crap because we got a whole bunch of. By the way, the FISA judges have turned nothing down, and we figured out why now. We know why they turned nothing down. Danielle, explain to the people why the FISA court never turns anything down.
Right, and this is this pretty much goes along the lines of any judge. If you turn down an investigation or something like that, if you turn something down, especially in the FISA court, if you were to turn down a collection of data on anyone, and that investigation, the people who were targeted there went on and actually committed an act or killed anyone or committed a terrorist act, the judges can be held liable. So, and this goes along to anything, when we look at bills that would strip away Second Amendment rights and they're like, well, a judge has to sign off. That's true, but a judge is held liable if they don't sign off, if they say no, and that person kills someone, then the judge is liable. And it's the same thing with the FISA court. If the FISA court says no, and the person targeted actually does kill someone or harm someone, then those judges who said no can be held liable and accountable and can be sued into civil court.
Yeah. So let's say you're a judge and you're getting these things and they're completely secret, but if something happens, if something goes wrong, then you have to be the one that takes a hit for it. What are you going to do? I mean, the judge should have enough of moral courage to not do this, if it doesn't make any sense. But I'm sure they're giving it a wide berth. They're like, well, the government's giving it to me. The people that are looking for terrorists are giving this to me, so I better just say yes.
Right. Well, it's more err on the side of caution because it's your ass on the line if you don't. Yeah. And that's, and think about it. If you were a judge and knew that you could lose your livelihood, everything you own, your family ends up pretty much on the street because they will sue you for millions and millions of dollars. What are you going to do? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you a question real quick, Danielle, about this board. What is their job?
Their job is to basically look at rules, regulations, and laws coming out of the government, of the federal government, and basically kind of give their opinion on whether it would be legal, lawful, and constitutional.
So that's what their job is then,
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Also in this article, this is from Mike Rogers of Michigan, Representative Mike Rogers of Michigan. He's a former FBI agent and chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. So this is the Republican response, by the way, just to show you how bipartisan what we're doing is actually. So he goes, I am disappointed that 3 members of the board decided to step well beyond their policy and oversight role and conducted a legal review of a program that has been thoroughly reviewed. So is it your recommendation, or is it your thought here that statement actually means that this guy doesn't even understand what this board's job is?
I think he's making a stretch here, and I think he definitely knows what the board does. But you see how he kind of talks out of both sides of his mouth. The board stepped well beyond their policy conducted a legal review. It was absolutely legal for them to review. He's saying that because they're not experts, that they step beyond, but they did an independent review instead of taking the House review or the foreign policy or whatever committee he's on. They didn't use their review; they did their own outside review, is what he's speaking of. Because a lot of times they take the recommendations of other. They'll kind of get another board or another committee to review it, kind of look at their investigation and then make a ruling. But this time they didn't take everybody else's advice, and they actually reviewed it themselves.
Now, this is something else that Representative Trader Mike Rogers wrote, and I want to make sure that I say this because there's another point to be made here. And then this is what he says. As those of us with law enforcement experience know, successful investigations use all available tools. There is often no silver bullet that alone thwarts a plot, Rogers said. So this is the problem. This is one of the major problems right now. This guy's not talking about the constitutionality of it. He's not talking about protecting your rights. He's not talking about it in any other way. He's talking about it like an FBI, like an enforcement person. Mm-hmm. And so he wants all the goodies and tools available in order for him to do his, in what he's saying, in order for him to do his job, he needs all of those tools. He doesn't care about whether it's constitutional or not, or whether it infringes on the rights of another. He doesn't care about that part because he's looking at it as an FBI agent. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the problem. The problem that we have right now is this is the response. It's like, well, we should, law enforcement should have all the tools available. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't. What if you gave law enforcement a tool in which you could peep in everybody's house 24/7, 365? Should they have that? According to Mike Rogers, the traitor that he is, you should. You should have all those tools. Whatever the law enforcement wants, you should just give to them.
Well, when he's saying that law enforcement uses all tools available, that's true. This tool shouldn't be available because it violates our rights. And that's what the investigation and that's what this review kind of found out. Yes, the tool right now is available, but it shouldn't be because it's a violation of our rights. I absolutely think that law enforcement uses every tool we make available to them. But those tools still need to stay within the confines of the Constitution. And that's where Mike Rogers is way wrong.
Not only way wrong, in my opinion, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe in it.
Right.
This is the problem with the Republicans on this one, is that they have bipartisan support of this. There's a couple voices on both sides that do not like what's going on, but for the most part, they love this stuff, man. They love having this tool to be able to beat you with.
Yeah, well, this is another one of those that's not a Republican problem or Democrat problem. It's an authoritarian psychopath problem. Mm-hmm. People who want massive amounts of control, and they're blurring the lines between the good guys and the bad guys. What makes the good guys is that they have rules to follow. They have lines that they are not allowed to cross that keep them as good guys. When they cross those lines, when they discard the rules and they do whatever they want, well, that's what the bad guys do. That's what makes them the bad guys. They have no rules to follow. They do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. So when you discard those lines, you discard those rules, the lines between the good guys and the bad guys get blurrier. It gets fuzzier. Who are the good guys? Who are the bad guys? Well, now the only good guys left are the ones who want to protect your rights.
Right.
And these are not the good guys.
Yeah, no, and this is a 5-member board, and 2 of the members didn't agree. This was a majority opinion, not a unanimous opinion. So 3 of the board members did find, and this is what they found, that the bulk collection couldn't be relevant to an investigation without redefining the word relevant. Because what happens is you go in and it has to be relevant to the investigation you're currently doing. But when you're taking the phone records of the entire country to investigate one person, you're really redefining what you mean by relevant.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Well, look, what they're looking at is they want to be able to have all this data, and let's take them at their word on this. Let's for a second, let's just take them at their word. What they're saying is that in order for them to investigate properly, they need to be able to, once they identify someone, they need to be able to look back at everything that they're doing and then kind of spiderweb it from there or whatever. The problem is you're not allowed to do that. The problem is that what you're doing is unconstitutional, and we've seen that it's unconstitutional, and it's illegal. Again, this is not some board that's been around since the Bush administration or anything like that. This was picked. These people were picked by the White House.
Yeah, and they're picked by a few different people. They are picked by the House. They're picked by the Senate. There's some White House appointments. Not everybody is picked by the White House. But these are retired judges and civil liberties advocates and people who really do deal in this realm of the law. So these are not people who are outside of, the law. They understand the law. They understand federal court. They understand court systems and judicial review. So it's not like they're, just activists that happen to be on a board. These are judges who understand the system. They do understand law enforcement. They have been involved in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why this is going to sound kind of funny to say this morning. There's two things. One, the reason that you don't have the military in charge of the military and that you don't have the police in charge of the police when it comes to the laws being made is because you don't want those people making those laws. Because they're not looking at it objectively.
Right.
They're not looking at it objectively. That's why you want civilians in charge. You want Congress to declare war. You know what I'm saying? You want the legislature to make laws because you don't want these people making laws because they won't do a good job.
And they're going to make decisions based on their own best interests. Of course, a general will make the decision to go to war. That's his job. That's why we don't let the military decide and declare wars. Congress has to do it.
Unless it's Chesty Puller. I know, it's kind of funny. Do you know who Chesty Puller is?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give you a little knowledge this morning. Chesty Puller is actually one of the most highly decorated Marines in the history of the Marine Corps, who, when he got out of the military, wrote a book called War is a Racket.
Oh, okay.
And that actually laid out, like, in pretty... Now, this was a long time ago. This was like World War II and stuff.
Yeah.
So he wrote a book called War is a Racket. Now, this guy, like I said, the most decorated Marine in the history of the Marine Corps. Like, when I went to boot camp, that you heard stories about Chesty Puller. Because, when you get the history and stuff, they, tell you about Chesty Puller. What they don't tell you about Chesty Puller, which I did not find out until later on, is that he wrote a book called War is a Racket. Yeah. Where he talks about how there's people that make financial money off of these wars, and that's why it's a racket. Again, it's unbelievable that the White House, who you thought at least they'd be good at this. At least you thought they'd be good on civil liberties. If there's the one thing out of everything that surprises me out of this Obama administration, out of all of the other stuff, I mean, look, Obamacare, socialized medicine, socialized programs, you knew all that stuff was going to happen with this guy. Like, you just knew it. Republicans have done the same thing, just put a different name on it. But you knew they were going to do this. You really thought, though, did you guys really think that on civil liberties that this guy would be much better than he was? Like, he's not even better than George Bush. He's worse than Bush.
Right. I didn't expect that, but I can't say that I expected him to be any better on civil liberties because...
Did you expect him to be worse?
I didn't expect him to be worse. I didn't expect him to be any better because anyone who has the potential of getting that job has been handpicked by the establishment. You're going into that job understanding that you will be told what you are allowed to do. And if not, then here's that image of the JFK assassination that no one has ever seen.
Here's the in-car footage.
Yeah.
I definitely thought, I didn't think he was going to be better on civil liberties, but I definitely thought there was going to be some foreign policy issues that he would be better on,
right,
that he has been worse on. So, although I pretty much assumed he'd be the same on civil liberties because when it comes to the collection of data and spying on people, I can't see someone given that power saying no to it because, again, they're the ones on the line if something goes wrong. So if they say, well, I gave everybody back their rights and kept their privacy intact, and then we had an attack, it's them that gets blamed for that. So when you know that you're on the line, that if something goes wrong, it's your ass, you tend to err on the side of caution for your own self-preservation, not for protecting someone else.
Right. And quite frankly, I think they use it a lot more for domestic law enforcement than international terrorists. In this day and age, with the passing of the Patriot Act and the sharing of information between all of the government agencies,
Right.
I have no doubt that the NSA is passing on the information that they gather to the DEA on all the people who are selling concert tickets by the quarter ounce. That's what they're using this information for. They're not using it to capture terrorists. They're using it for domestic law enforcement.
Yeah. It's just really, it is amazing that I'm I shouldn't be shocked. I shouldn't be shocked at all. I should be like, we knew this was going to be the way it was, but it almost shocks you still that, okay, this body this governmental organization that you set up that's in charge of looking at this says that this is illegal. Yeah, we're not going to do anything about that. Like, hold on a second, man. Okay, the board that you put in place to decide if this stuff was legal or illegal is saying that it's illegal. Now, again, this is the reason for the board. Obama's like, well, we disagree. And the Republicans go, yeah, they're overstepping their bounds. How dare the organization that was set up to decide whether this stuff is illegal or illegal is going to actually say that it's illegal? Bunch of activist judges.
You're only allowed to make a decision that we agree with.
Well, these are people who were, the majority was appointed by the White House. They still went through kind of, the basically the ceremonial, yes, we approve from the House and the Senate and things like that. Well, actually, just the Senate. But, so you have this, this show of, see, we're going to be here to protect your rights and make sure we do everything legal. And then they were like, how dare you say we're doing things illegal?
Yeah. What are you thinking?
You're fired.
Surprised they didn't fire the whole board.
I am surprised.
I'm sure they're gonna. They just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, these were not the conclusions you were allowed to come to.
Yeah.
We told you what conclusions you were allowed to have, but this was not it.
How dare you activists do this?
You guys are so fired.
So should be in jail, the whole lot of them. There's 800 people that should be in federal prison right now. Just clear the House, clear the Senate, clear the White House, clear all the aides, and just throw them in the clink and start the trials. Just start the trials. I just start the trials as soon as possible.
Why? They don't let us have trials.
Right.
Well,
They have it now legal that we are not entitled to a trial if they don't say that we deserve one.
well, that's a good point too.
Why should we give them the credit that they don't give us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody that votes for these people ought to have their head examined.
Yes. That should be mandatory.
Yeah. Moving on.
Well, along the lines of
Hold on. Just for the record, I did give enough time for that one, right?
Yeah.
Everyone in the Democrat and Republican Party should be Baker acted.
All the ones in Washington, D.C., I got to tell you, man, most of them should be.
No, we're saying the voters.
Oh, the voters. Do you think if somebody goes in there and just votes, we ought to have the ambulances outside go, did you vote for a Democrat or Republican in there? Yeah. Go ahead and get in the vehicle.
Even better, a trap door underneath it. They pull the lever for the R or D and the trap door opens and there's a bunch of crocodiles down there. So.
Okay.
I think that goes along the lines of us starting to intimidate voters. You better vote for a libertarian or those crocodiles are underneath you.
I think we could get really far if you just did it Russian roulette style, though, and said it's possible that if you vote for a Democrat or Republican, that you could fall in a moat full of alligators. You don't know for sure. I bet you we could help get some good votes that way.
Is that any worse than the Democrats saying if you don't vote for us, old people are going to be dying in the streets?
That is true.
I mean,
this is just more of an individual death than it is a group
I
death.
definitely think that there are a large amount of candidates who also should be put in jail for voter intimidation because of statements like that. If you vote for the other guy, people are going to die.
Yeah.
I think that's voter intimidation.
absolutely.
Damn, that's gonna suck. I'm gonna walk around here. That's what I'm gonna say to people. Did you know they got alligator pits in there that open up if you don't vote Democrat? If you vote for Democrats or Republicans? Did you know that somebody died last year? True story.
Someone would believe you. I definitely
I
think
need 2 out of 10 to believe me.
I definitely think that we could argue battered wife syndrome on many Republicans.
Oh, and Democrats too, though.
Absolutely.
No. Don't take the Democrats out of the battered wife syndrome.
No.
Because I've heard
That's
some people
true.
I've heard some people still defending Obama on civil liberty stuff,
Yeah.
which is a joke. Like okay, are you just really not paying attention, guy?
Yeah.
And you know they're fully in battered wife syndrome because the same people who were vocal against Charlie Crist are now supporting him
Right.
Yeah.
And-
just because of the letter behind his name.
Yep.
Yep, and there's some people that supported that man that ain't supporting him anymore because of the letter next to his name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. It's amazing.
But they'll change next time.
Yeah.
They won't do
They
it
mean
again.
it. They mean it this time.
They said sorry.
Yeah.
They gave me something shiny.
Like, I don't even know. Look, if you're a person that supports gay rights, I don't even know how you can support Charlie Crist at this point. Like, okay, I understand what he's saying to you now. That dude voted in an entirely different way. Like, so you believe in what he says, but you don't believe what he did?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm apologizing for that now. Because he's running for office. Where was that apology a year ago?
Yeah.
You know, when you weren't running for office, you know? Like,
He supported the constitutional amendment that redefined marriage as one man and one woman.
yeah,
Yeah.
supported it. It got passed.
Gay marriage is illegal in the state of Florida because of Charlie Crist's signature.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he could deny it all he wants. He signed off on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
And like you said, he didn't come out and apologize when the gay marriage conversation was it was the top of the public conversation.
Yeah.
He wasn't apologizing then. He's apologizing now when he's running for office.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see him go on the apology tour a year ago.
Like I said, man, it's just it's unbelievable how see-through it is, and it's also unbelievable how Crist will, no matter what you say, will totally just no, that's not it at all. I don't know what you're talking about. You know?
That's the old Charlie Crist.
Yeah, and then the Democrats, and that's the thing. Look, this election is one of those elections where it's like, if you're a Democrat, there's no possible way that you can really vote for Charlie Crist and not look like a hypocrite.
Oh, absolutely.
Not a chance. Not a chance. Really, no chance at all. I would argue that in this one, the Republicans look less like hypocrites if they stick with Rick Scott.
Oh, yeah.
They just have to quit talking about liberty and freedom because they don't mean it.
Right.
Well, they voted him in last time, so for them to vote him in again, they're not being hypocrites. They're just being liars.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Because they say all these things, but they don't believe any of it.
right.
Yeah. The other part is what the Republicans, where they don't have any credibility on for the governorship, is that you guys worked for Crist the last time.
Well, yeah.
Or 2 times ago.
When they do the whole, but we can't let Charlie Crist win, now you're a hypocrite because you actually helped him win just a few years ago.
Yeah. Look, what? 8 years. It would be 8 years. 8 years ago, if you were a Republican and you were involved, you were helping Charlie Crist win an election. That's what you were doing.
And saying, but we can't have Bill McCollum win.
Pre-Obama hug. Pre-Obama hug is what it was.
Yeah, 8 years ago, you had a Charlie Crist sign in your yard.
Yeah.
You had a Charlie Crist bumper sticker on your car.
You were talking about how great that man was and how he's the awesomest thing in the
He's
world.
going to
and-
save Florida.
Yeah, he's going to save Florida.
In fact, I bet if we pull that Rick Scott bumper sticker off your car, the Charlie Crist bumper sticker is still under there.
That's a good one. I like that one. Oh, man. We have to do that. If we find a car with the Rick Scott sticker, I'd like to ask him if we can pull it. Like, I'll buy them another Rick Scott sticker just so I can actually look underneath the one that they have in their car.
Okay. I'm not spending money on Rick Scott stickers to replace their stickers.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Then we'll lie.
The old bait and switch.
Then once we do it, we'll run away.
Give him a Wiley sticker
Yeah, that's what we'll do. Yeah, I'll replace that sticker.
That's
with
the
a better
the-
governor candidate.
with no.
with
I'll
a
just say
better sticker.
Yeah, I'll give you a better sticker than that, and he's gonna go, "Oh, Corey."
Okay. And then here you go.
All right, moving on.
Moving on. Since we were talking about foreign policy a little while ago,
Totally missed the segue. But we'll go.
CNN's Twitter account was actually hacked. It was just hacked yesterday. And when it was hacked by the Syrian Electronic Army. And if you haven't heard of them, this is a group of Bashar al-Assad's supporters, who basically hack news outlets. They've done the AP, they've done NPR, BBC, some other reporting agencies around the world, and they hack their Twitter accounts and basically start putting out these you think it's Al Qaeda, you're lying kind of things about the U.S. government. This week, yesterday, they hacked CNN.
Nice.
So some of their tweets included, don't forget, Al Qaeda is Al CIA.
Yes.
Funded, armed, and controlled. For 3 years, Al Qaeda has been destroying the Syrian state, but they think you're stupid enough to believe it.
Wow. Like, what is going on in this world?
CNN's Twitter account is hacked because they're actually speaking truth.
Yeah. Syrian Electronic Army was here. Stop lying. All your reports are fake.
I gotta tell you, I'm kind of liking the Syrian Electronic Army. Those guys are kind of fun, aren't they? Isn't it weird that little countries like Syria end up having good hackers that can hack CNN? You haven't heard China hacking CNN, but Syria hacks CNN.
Maybe you don't have to be that good of a hacker to hack CNN, and maybe CNN is that irrelevant that China doesn't care about hacking them.
This was another one. Obama bin Laden, the Lord of Terror, is brewing lies that the Syrian state controls Al Qaeda.
Wow. Foreign people are fun sometimes. Foreigners hacking CNN. Then they shouldn't hack CNN. They shouldn't hack any of it and do their own thing. But, then again, if somebody's lying about you, would you go there to try to correct the lie, I guess?
And you'd be pissed and try to do something to tell their listeners or their viewers or their readers they're lying on us.
Yeah,
like hack their Twitter account.
They're lying on the Qaeda. Don't lie on the Qaeda. They'll come and get you. I don't even know what else to say about that one. I almost feel bad. I was going to say moving on, but.
It's one of those things where, it happened yesterday. I thought it was interesting. We're talking a lot about foreign policy this first hour, and I just had to slip that in there because I just think it's great that, the Syrian Electronic Army is hacking into, and CNN isn't the first one they've done. They've done the AP, BBC, they've done, NPR, they've done a ton of different news outlets and done the same thing. Yeah. Basically saying, stop lying. Everything you're being told about what's going on in Syria is a lie. Stop believing the media.
Yeah. I appreciate the advice. I mean, we already don't believe them, but
we're on board.
Yeah, thanks for looking out.
Good looking out, Syria.
Yeah.
Another person who isn't exactly favorable to our foreign policy is actually Robert Gates.
Oh, Bob Gates, huh? What's old Bob saying?
Robert Gates actually wrote a book. He wrote his memoirs and basically is saying that he's tired of war, even though he was actually, and this is funny, he was taking part in peace demonstrations during the Vietnam War, and then went on to be a CIA employee, an Air Force veteran. He did protest the invasion of Cambodia, but, was very much involved. He served 8 years under President Bush, heading the Pentagon for President Bush and Barack Obama. He's been involved in basically foreign policy for years. But in his new book, he acknowledges that he didn't support a lot of the wars. In fact, in behind-the-scenes meetings, he was the one basically suggesting against it. He called some of the goals in Afghanistan embarrassingly ambitious and historically naive.
Very true.
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. I understand that now this is what I get. This is what I get upset about with guys like Gates. I'm glad that you're coming out now with it. Where were you at the time?
Right.
I know you're in there giving the voice of opposition in there, but wouldn't it have made a bigger statement at the time to just to resign, say, and cite exactly why you're resigning and exactly what's going on. Wouldn't it make more sense then to do that if you really believe this?
He said basically, like in 2003, he tacitly supported the Iraq invasion, but, had second thoughts pretty early on. He argued that, now he argues that the Iraq war undermined the efforts, and he actually argued at the time that the Iraq war undermined the efforts in Afghanistan. It diverted resources, diverted attention. He concluded it will always be tainted by the harsh reality that the public premise for invasion, Iraqi position of chemical and biological weapons, as well as an active nuclear program, was wrong.
Yeah.
And he does go against Obama as well. He actually in 2011 did lobby against the intervention in Libya. And he called it. He says it's a civil war. It's none of our business. So this is someone who was involved in a lot of the foreign policy decisions that were made, and we're finding out now that behind the scenes he was arguing against him, and now he's publicly coming out and basically giving the insight on, how horrendous our foreign policy is from someone who at one point did support some of it.
There's a quote that he has in here too that I thought was actually a funny, well, I wouldn't say funny quote, but kind of humorous. This is from the article in The Guardian. I worried about how overstretched and tired our military was and the possibility of a protracted conflict in Libya. He often asked his colleagues, can I just finish the 2 wars we're already in before you go looking for new ones? Like, could you imagine the general up there? Hey, can I finish the 2 you gave me already before you find anything else?
I love it.
Like,
here's the thing. Why do you have to say that stuff behind closed doors? Why can't you say that in public?
Right.
Why don't you have the stones to come out and show the people that you're actually on their side? Because that's what we want. That's all those things he's saying. That's what the people agreed with. That just about everybody I know felt that way. Left, right, center, libertarian, authoritarian, doesn't matter. Nobody wanted to be involved in these wars.
Right.
Everybody thought it was a mistake.
Except for the neocons.
Yeah. So, I mean, why did you not have the stones to come out and say these things in public before? Why now?
Well, I think for guys like Gates, I think it's all about the Benjamins.
Absolutely.
Because he was, and maybe when I say all about the Benjamins, it's a little bit of a dig, maybe a little bit more than what I'm trying to make, the point that I'm trying to make. The point I am trying to make is that this guy set on a path in his life to be a general or to be in the military and to be a general. And that he was doing it, at least it seems to me from reading some of this stuff, is that he did it because he wanted to make sure his country was protected. And that he got to a certain point where he realized what they were doing was a racket, like Chesty Puller. Mm-hmm. That the war is a racket. But at that point, he's like, "Well, I'm going to try to change it from the inside, but I don't want my pension to go away."
Yeah, I got a pension I'm looking forward to. I got a mortgage to pay. He's getting wealth and power from his position. Why is he going to put it on the line?
Yeah,
right.
dudes in exactly. So
well, he says he argued with Bush over U.S. strikes. And basically had told President Bush at the time this would strengthen the most radical elements, unify the country behind the government in their hatred of the U.S., and demonstrate would be in a conflict with Iran, and demonstrate to all Iranians the need to develop nuclear weapons. That if we were striking things in the area, that it's just going to make Iran want nuclear weapons because we're bombing everybody else.
Exactly.
This is the last thing from this article, which I think is really something good. This is something everybody should be listening to when it comes to Gates now. All he wants is for the U.S. to stay out of unnecessary wars of the sort American presidents are so prone to undertake. When the next war of choice begins, Gates won't be among those marching to protest, but his heart just might be with them. Which kind of sucks, but at the same time, you have a general, you have a person that has been in the military for a long time saying, get the hell out of these stupid, unnecessary wars. Again, this isn't anti-American. The guy that you want to send over there to go do this is saying we shouldn't be doing this. Maybe, just maybe, you might want to listen to him. Or you can listen to the most decorated Marine combat veteran in the history of the Marine Corps, Chesty Puller, who wrote a book called War is a Racket. Or you could listen to the neocon scumbags like Rubio, who haven't served a day in the military in their life, who just love bombing brown people. I don't know. I would think if you're pro-military, maybe you ought to listen to those guys. But just me.
Well, and this, I think, goes along the lines of why, we're seeing more Democrat victories. Because there is that hope that when you get a Democrat in office, maybe they may stop wars.
No. Yeah,
listen, I know it's not true.
Yeah, Lucy's going to keep that football right there, Charlie Brown. No, go ahead and kick it. No, Lucy's going to keep that thing right there. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, fall for that one more time. Find out what happens.
Every single time.
I just think that you're, basically the loudest of the politicians beating the war drums do tend to be Republicans. And Democrats go along, although they try to give that reluctant, like, no, I didn't want to do it, but, and I think that's why you're seeing kind of this push towards, you're watching a lot of Democrats win. You're watching Democrats win in districts all over, very red districts. And I think there's that, like, well, I always voted for the Republican and we're always in war, so maybe I'll vote for the Democrat. Now I hope you learn that didn't help.
At all.
Made it worse.
Yeah.
More wars.
Yeah. Oh, come on. You guys are racist for saying that.
We are setting records with the amount of wars.
Yeah. We're now automating it for you, for your convenience.
But so, listen, there's a lot of reasons why Republicans are losing. I think war is one of them. I think civil liberties is another because they are seen as the more, we want to be involved in every part of your life.
Yeah. But the problem is that the Democrats are just as bad, if not more bad. Right. Is that even a word?
No, it's called worse.
Oh, worse. They're worse. They really are. A lot of times we really spend a lot of time digging on Republicans, right? And rightly so for many of the things that they do.
Because they're evil.
They've definitely earned it.
But man, these Democrats are some hypocrites, though.
Yes.
Like, are they just some hypocrites? This guy ran on we need transparency and Bush is lying to us. And,
won the Peace Prize.
He won the Peace Prize on what he was saying and ended up making Bush look like a dove. Like no BS. Didn't curse. No BS. Barack Obama makes George Bush look like a dove. And if you don't like that, if you go, well, that's wrong. No, it ain't wrong. You're either just too blind to see, or you just refuse to admit it. I don't know which one it is, but your opinion should no longer be looked at as something that should be worthy of anything else. Because if you're sticking around with the Dems, man, that's what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They made Bush look like a dove. Your party is the war party now. You own that.
Yes. Well, I think both parties right now are the war party.
Both parties are definitely the war party. And unfortunately, the war that they have right now is the war on you.
Well, when you look at blanket surveillance, you're not looking at blanket surveillance of Afghanistan, by the way.
Yeah, which to be honest with you, is not that hard to do. Because there's like 25 phones in the whole country, Like, that's easy. That's like an Excel spreadsheet, man. You don't even need a special computer for that one.
You don't even need to go to Access for that. You do it in Excel.
You don't even need Access for that.
I just...
Did he just say you don't even need Access?
He did. He did say that. But, when you're looking at these... I know you guys completely just derailed
that train of thought.
Every train of thought.
My bad.
No, when and like you were saying, the war is definitely moving to a war against the government against us. When you look at these programs like the NDAA, where they can just take you for no reason and indefinitely detain you, you're looking at blanket surveillance of the country. You're not seeing these provisions used on our enemies in other countries that we're at war with.
Yeah.
The budget for the war on drugs here in the United States is larger than the budget for the wars on the other side of the world.
So who are they at war against?
Yeah. Not just that, though. Think about this. We talked about this on the Wednesday show. We talked about like 39% unemployment right now. But if you go to Shadow Stats, let's just use the Shadow Stats numbers, which is less than this. You have unemployment that's been in the 20s since 2008. Since '08, it's been in the 20s, and it hasn't gone down. I know that people are touting these numbers, and this is where like the Republican hypocrisy really pisses me off. Because when Rick Scott will come out there and say, well, look at my unemployment numbers, and then Hannity mirrors, when he brings them on, oh, look at these unemployment numbers, how well they're doing in Florida. Look, if Obama puts those numbers out, it's a lie, but now Rick Scott puts them out, and it's a way to it's a talking point. Like, you need to have a little consistency here, son. That's
No, he doesn't. He's on Fox News.
Well, no, that's true. The problem is that we have a crash coming. They're setting up a police state, well, they've pretty much already done. They're arming them to the teeth. They're giving them, like, the government used these armored vehicles for Afghanistan, brought them home, and sold them to local law enforcement. A $700,000 vehicle for $2,000. Look, for $2,000. That's a blowout. That's a blowout sale.
That's less than you paid for your Corolla.
Yeah. You could buy a used Corolla and spend more money than that. And they got a tank for that money. A tank. What police department is not going to buy one of those if they have an opportunity for $2,000? What police department? None. They'll all buy them.
I got to tell you, if our city police department buys a tank, I'm going to be furious.
Who's to say they don't have one already?
Yeah.
We would know.
All right, we'll have to look into that for sure. Though.
Like,
the county does, though.
No,
now, the county has
does.
one.
The county does. It has one of those meerkats or bearcats or whatever it's called. They don't have an MRAP, though. The MRAP, I think, is actually
I'm sure they'll
bigger.
get one soon. Considering they're spending $30,000 for Victory motorcycles.
That is true.
Why not add an extra $2,000 on that? It's like the margin of error on one of those Victory motorcycles. Just go get you a tank with it.
Wait, that could have been 15 tanks.
Yeah, it could have.
That was only 6 Victory motorcycles. You could have bought 15 tanks.
No. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
15. I actually thought it was double that. My bad. I thought it was double that.
Double half.
Yeah, but they just bought 6 of them. So what? 6 times 15? That's...
What?
They bought... How many? Hold on. You said they bought...
They bought 6 Victory motorcycles.
They bought 15... So they... Okay.
For the price of 15 tanks.
Yeah. So, but they bought 6 of... No. Remember, they bought 6 cycles. It was $60,000 a cycle.
No.
How many tanks could they have bought?
Oh, that's right. Because
No, I'm sorry. It was $30,000.
It was $30,000 each. They spent $180,000.
So how many tanks could you have bought with that?
You could have bought 90.
90 tanks!
They could have had an army of tanks.
They would have been more fiscally conservative by actually buying the tanks.
Yeah. And safer. Because a motorcycle has no protection.
Yeah.
Not even from the rain.
Yeah. I never understood the Victory motorcycle thing that they did. I mean, the funny part about it is, and this is like, I know this goes in a little
I think
local.
they should be
but-
on Vespas.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think they should be on Vespas. That's a good point, by the way. If I ever become sheriff of Pasco County,
They're all
I'm buying all the
Vespas.
deputies Vespas.
Some of these cops, you look at them, they need to be on a bicycle. You need to be patrolling this beat on a bicycle.
Yeah.
And make sure there's no Dunkin' Donuts on your beat.
Moving on.
Sorry.
No, that was good, though. I liked
That
it.
was
I liked
good.
it.
I want to see them on Vespas.
I do want to see him on Vespas, though. And even a big fat guy on a Vespa is still funny.
Oh,
That's hysterical.
Like, don't put him on the bicycle. Leave him on the Vespa.
I'm so bad because I always laugh at fat people on scooters. And you can almost hear the scooter going, "Get off of me!
Come on, I'm serious. Quit playing around.
Help me.
I'm so bad.
All right, moving on.
We gotta move
You
on
have
now.
killed any segue I've had to anything this morning.
My bad.
A group in Miami is actually taking on the same-sex, the marriage equality issue, and they have filed a suit against Florida, seeking the freedom to marry in Florida.
Did they include Charlie Crist in the lawsuit, considering he's the one that passed the law?
No, they wouldn't, because this is a constitutional amendment. So what happened is back in 2008. The Florida legislature actually decided to put this on. This wasn't done by petition. This was done legislatively. They put this on the ballot as a constitutional amendment, and it did pass. Now, you need 60% voter approval to pass a constitutional amendment. This passed with 61.9%. So it is illegal in Florida, and that's not a law. That's not something that the Florida legislature can just say, nah, we want to overturn that. They can't do that because it's a constitutional amendment. So this group is actually fighting the constitutional amendment, basically saying that it violates their constitutional rights, the federal constitutional rights. Now there is a little, because this was an amendment to the Constitution of Florida, there are going to be some issues with this lawsuit because of their legal standing, because basically they almost have to go to the Supreme Court. So they're going to have, a lot of the lower courts aren't going to hear it and kind of send them to a higher court. Going to the Supreme Court is actually very costly, and it is going to take a very long time to settle the issue.
Yeah.
But they are going to do it. I don't know how high they're going to go up in the court system, because it's definitely going to depend on how much money they can raise, because going to the Supreme Court is not cheap.
No, not at all. Well, again, I hate to be negative Nilly on this, but I really do think that these people, in some way, should be ashamed of themselves.
Who?
The people that are filing a lawsuit.
Okay.
Here's the reason why. You're not serious. I don't believe that they're actually serious about this. I believe that they're using it just as a political stunt to raise the issue, I guess, which is not a bad thing to do. But I don't think that they're actually serious about it, because if you were serious about it, then what you would do is you would actually start the process to have the voters go back and revisit this, because I think you would get the 60 going the other way had you do this.
You don't.
Oh, okay.
And polling shows.
Am I wrong?
No. You're completely wrong. And the only reason I know this is because this was recently polled.
All right.
And a recent Gallup poll shows that 46% of Floridians want to keep the constitutional amendment. So a ballot initiative to get rid of it would fail, because they need 60% to repeal it.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't get it. Even though the majority agree with them, it's not a 60% majority.
You don't think they could get to the 60?
No, I don't.
You think that 40 something is strong, huh?
It's 46%, and it's a strong 46%, and that's 46% with 10% undecided.
Oh, so it is not the majority that.
It's not a.
It's not the majority.
No.
They're in the 40s for support.
Right.
Quite frankly, I think this exposes the bigger issue that we have in Florida, the laziness and stupidity of our legislators here in the state of Florida, how everything must be done by constitutional amendment rather than writing a freaking law and putting it in the legislative books. Last election cycle, what did we have? 15 constitutional amendments that we voted on?
Well, certain things have to be.
Well, certain things do have to be. I understand that, but not everything does. In the last election cycle, we had a ton of constitutional amendments that we were voting on, most of which needed to be done legislatively.
Yeah.
These do not need to be constitutional amendments, and this is one of those things. This should not be a constitutional amendment.
No, this shouldn't have been. Now, certain things, because last year we had a lot about lowering taxes for certain groups of people, and that does have to be a constitutional amendment. Anytime you're adjusting revenue by a large amount, one way or the other, it has to go to the people. So most of the amendments last year did have to go, but some of them didn't. But there was just a few of those. This never had to be.
It's probably about a 60-40 split, then, I think is what it was, if I remember correctly, with all of them.
Yeah.
60 having to be there, 40 not.
This definitely didn't have to go to a constitutional amendment at all. Now, there is a way around this, and it is a legislative way around this. And we've been working on this because this is an issue that, although I think it's important in Florida, because I do think that when you define marriage, you are basically discriminating against a group of people. But the way around this, because to get a constitutional amendment to repeal the other one isn't going to work. Your legal standing in this lawsuit is questionable. And it's going to take a long time. Legislatively, there's a way around it. And the way around it, because the constitutional amendment, the way it was written in 2008, defined marriage as between one man and one woman. But if you get rid of marriage licenses in the state of Florida, which would cause a nightmare with the IRS. So I understand that everybody's like, you can't because the IRS won't know who's married and who they can give the benefits to. In the state of Florida, if you got rid of the word marriage license, just got rid of them, and made a civil union permit,
then it wouldn't matter.
Then it wouldn't matter.
And then everybody has to get those.
Because they're not marriages.
They're not marriages.
They're marriages.
It would be a civil union permit. And you could actually have where if people wanted to go to a church, that could be, if you go to your church and this is how you want it and it's between a man and a woman, you call it a marriage, that's fine. But any license within the state of Florida is a civil union permit.
But you can call it whatever you want anyway.
But call it whatever you want.
I want to actually, on a different subject, I actually want to really disagree with Greg on something. I like that they have a lot of things on the ballot. I like that. I actually do like that. I think we ought to have more things on the ballot like that. You really hate that, huh?
I do, because of the challenge that it creates. Because there are so many things that they put on there as constitutional amendments that need to be done legislatively, that can be overturned in the proper way. Because laws come and go.
It.
You know, this is the problem with having it as a constitutional amendment. Because this should just be a law that would be much easier to deal with legislatively than deal with it as a constitutional amendment. It is because the legislators in Tallahassee are lazy assholes.
Okay. Oh, no. And I'm with you on this.
You know what it is? It's their pet things they want to make sure you can't get rid of.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I got you. I mean, I do like that, though. I mean, I like the ability that we have, that if we go get enough petitions and we can go do the work and get things done, that we can put that on the ballot, things that we know that the representatives wouldn't do. Like, we know they wouldn't do, like, the thing that we really should be doing next, and libertarians should be owning this issue, and we haven't yet because we just don't have enough time. You know, we don't have enough time and resources to actually start this thing up. But the recall petition.
Yes.
We need recall in this state, and we need it so bad. If you want to know something, if there's one thing I think we could get people to really get behind when it comes to the Libertarian Party, it would be the ability to recall.
And that's something that has to be done by constitutional amendment.
Yeah.
Now, I wish there was more laws. I wish that you could have things on... I wish you could have things on the ballot that didn't amend the Constitution. It was just, hey, we want to put this into law and we want your opinion.
Right.
And whatever you say is what we're going to go with. I would like that. And I would like more of that. I would like more things on the ballot. I don't like amending the Constitution so easily. And even though it's 60%, so you can argue that it's not easy, we amend our Constitution for the dumbest things.
We do. Our Constitution is insane, and the number of amendments that we have on the Florida Constitution at this point, it is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you there.
I mean, and you got to look. I mean, most states in the last election did not have constitutional amendments on the ballot. The ones who did, it was like 1 or 2. And then you get to Florida and we're like, what, 15? It's insane. It's insane the way we legislate here.
Well, I mean, thanks Tallahassee. They're a bunch of good guys, and they're working on it. They're trying. They're doing the best they can up there.
Yeah, and
hey, let me give you their cell phone number.
And
so you can be handled.
Yes. Greg needs some handling, Danielle. Can you see which legislator will handle him? I'm sorry. I wanted to finish the joke. Go ahead, Danielle. Please continue.
What I was talking about with a civil union permit is only to satisfy the IRS until we can get rid of the IRS, and then I think government should get out of marriage altogether. But it's one of those step solutions.
Look at you coming up with a plan on a Friday. Good job, Danielle. Let me just. I love it, Danielle. I love it that you have plans for stuff. I appreciate that, and that's why you're a member of this show, and that you're a vital part of the Liberty community, Danielle.
Yeah, I just didn't want anyone to think I want government involved. I don't. I just need a step solution.
Hold on a second. I don't want anybody government involved in this. Almost sounded like a retarded version of Jimmy Carter just then. Actually, I don't know why. Sorry, guys. All right, hour number 1 is in the bag. Hour number 2 is coming up. We're going to be talking about the District 13 race. Brandon from the Global Dispatch will be on. Dogs and cats sleeping together.
Mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria. All right. As soon as the music starts, we'll be taking a break. Whatever you want to do that, Greg.
I'm trying. I didn't turn this computer into a file server. It's not my fault.
Oh, that's a good point, by the way. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with camera. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards. They will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company. They work for you. Auto Body located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know, Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
I hand, don't be mistaken. I believe in peace, but I won't be taken. I will not submit to authoritative man. I'm ready to die, but not for love. See the signs appear, it's gonna happen here.
This is Liberty Underground with Alex Snicker, Danielle Alexandra, and Greg Bowen on the 1787 Radio Network.
Well, good morning, Clearwater, St. Petersburg, and Tampa Bay. This is Alex, co-host, Liberty Underground, along with me, Danielle Alexandra. Good morning, Danielle. How are you doing?
Good morning. Still getting used to the new voice.
Still getting used to the new voice, huh?
Yeah. It's going to take a while.
Well, you'll get there.
I like it. I mean, I like that it says our names and not Adrian anymore, but, you know.
Yeah, I got you. I hear you.
It's still a little odd hearing it.
Yes. Also, working the controls very well, and also on the phone right now using the refresh telecom lines at 1-800-525-4032. That's 1-800-525-4032. That is Greg Bowen. Greg would say hi, but he is busy trying to make sure he doesn't hang up on that person, and he connects them over so he can be on the show, or he or she can be on the show.
Because that's an actual complicated phone system that took us, when we tried to use it, it was about 10 or 11 tries before we got a call to connect?
Well, but the problem was because it was so simple that we didn't think we could do it that way.
Well, I was using that button and doing it.
Well, but the thing was, remember, as soon as we would hang up on it, though.
No, I was keeping it off. And then it just took a while, and we didn't realize that it took so long, so we were ending the call before it would transfer over.
Yeah, exactly. Greg, how are you doing, sir?
Spectacular.
All right. Who's going to be on the line, by the way? Are you going to tell us, or do you want it to be a secret?
Well, it's our special guest on the show today, Bill Wolsifer.
Oh, Bill Wolsifer, our special guest on the show today.
I had him scheduled for next week, but okay.
Let's do it now, though. On the line with us, Libertarian candidate for Attorney General, Bill Wolsifer. Bill, how are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing great.
Now, Bill, if you could just give the audience a little bit of information about yourself, what are you currently doing as it relates towards your profession, which kind of lends itself to why you're running for Attorney General?
Well, my profession is attorney at law. Alex, I got to ask him, get a heavy echo.
You are getting a heavy echo. Nothing we can do about that right now. You're actually coming fine on this side. So,
all right, good, thanks.
Yeah.
Make sure that if you're listening to the show on your end that the volume's turned down.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing that though. But and I know it's probably going to be a little more difficult for you because I know I've done interviews with echoes before, and it ain't fun. By the way, it ain't even fun at all. But you're currently a lawyer, so you're practicing law right now, correct?
I am. I'm sitting in Tallahassee with my staff, and we are working on a number of cases.
I gotcha. Now, when it comes to what made your decision as it relates towards deciding to run for the Attorney General position here in the state of Florida?
Well, a number of things. Primarily, a passion for certain issues that need to be discussed in Florida's legal debate that have been omitted. And I didn't see them coming from either the Democrat or Republican candidate. We haven't heard them in the past. The Libertarian Party of Florida is running really well right now. It's well organized, good leadership, and you look at the whole package and said, we can do this. We can do this. Bring a Libertarian candidate to run for Attorney General. We've got a candidate out there for governor, and have those hard discussions in Tallahassee on civil liberties and protection of individual rights.
Now, one of the things I thought was really exciting about your campaign right from the get-go was the amount of people that have decided to step up and support the campaign, that you really were able to bring people together to get involved in the Attorney General's race. And there's a lot of libertarians that have a lot of excitement about having a libertarian candidate for Attorney General. Can you speak to maybe your thoughts on how you were able to do in the beginning with putting kind of a team together to help you in this run?
Yeah. And, in fact, my associate attorney Stephanie Cunningham just said yesterday that we are now where she thought we'd be in July, because it has moved really quick. A lot of a lot of good, energetic people did come forward. We launched a campaign for volunteers through like-minded websites, sort of an inner circle of people, and then branched out like the stone in the water. And people came forward, talented people, helped me with put the website together, content creation, draft memes. We organize in 67 counties. We don't have all 67 covered, but we do have a core organization in all 67 counties for county campaign management with a director for each county. We're targeting 8 regional directors. We've just took on a great webmaster last week. He's really helped a lot. Good folks at the Libertarian Party helped get the website launched just so we can get off the ground. And then it's just each day, the more people we attract, the more people we attract. So I've got a great team.
No, absolutely. And I think that the thing about Attorney General, a lot of people don't know a lot about this position. They don't understand the kind of I don't even want to say the power that it wields, but what you
how
can
much
do.
Influence you have.
How much influence you do have as Attorney General. What are some of the things, as you understand it as Attorney General, that you will have the ability to do when you're elected into office?
Well, the Attorney General is a cabinet maker, cabinet member, obviously.
Well, do you make cabinets as well? Is that something that you're going to bring to the table here? The ability to make.
No pun intended, right?
No pun intended at all. No. So they're a member of the cabinet, and what are they allowed to do, Bill?
Well, the Attorney General is a policymaker, not a lawmaker, not a legislature, and is also the head of certain agencies as a result of that cabinet position. So the Attorney General is the chief legal officer of the state. The Attorney General handles the criminal appeals throughout the state and advocates and protects consumers. So consumer protection is a huge part of the Attorney General's job. And there's a Solicitor General, there's a collection of child support for the Department of Revenue. It's a huge list of what the Attorney General does. There's 1,300 employees at the office, the majority of which are attorneys. But the primary goal is consumer protection, and we want to bring the defense of civil liberties into that primary realm as well.
No, absolutely. Now, and speaking of that, what are some of the things that you are running on? What are some of the issues that you are looking at as Attorney General to be able to do for the citizens of Florida?
Well, Alex, before I say that, I want to premise that by saying that the Attorney General's office does a lot of things well, and they have for a long time. It's a well-structured agency, and much of what they do can stay in place. And of course, there's always room for improvement, and there's always room for to do a little house cleaning. But the consumer protection, the foreclosure protection, mortgage fraud, those sort of things, the Attorney General is active with. But as a policymaker, we can go in some different directions. For example, right now, Florida's Attorney General is defending against an open carry appeal that's taking place in the 4th District, the 4th DCA over in Palm Beach County. I would not defend against that lawsuit. I favor the position that the defense brought forward in the lower court. So that's where policy comes in. Same thing with the medical marijuana is in the news a lot these days, and has been for the last year or so in Florida and since 1996 across the country. The Attorney General has a rulemaking power with regard to the controlled substance list. So there was a petition that I know Florida Cannabis Network presented to our Attorney General last year asking to remove cannabis from Schedule 1. They got a big no. And I'm not saying I would do that either, but I would certainly remove cannabis with 0.3% or less THC levels from that controlled substance list to allow that plant to be used for industrial hemp, so we can get hemp cultivation going in this state and create jobs, create products.
No, and I guess that does kind of go into it. Is that the way that you look at it for the Attorney General's office is that structurally it's been put together in a pretty good way. The problem, as you see it, has to be with the direction that the AG's office is currently going at under Pam Bondi, and this is my words, not yours. So free to disagree if you want to. But it seems like that office is now more of a, or at least as it stands right now, they're getting their policy dictates from the Republican establishment more than from what their job would be as it relates towards the goals of that office, which would be consumer protection and things along those lines. That it doesn't seem that the direction is the proper direction under Pam Bondi, and that's where you have the bigger issue at.
Yes, sir. I certainly agree, and I don't think it'll be much different under a Democratic Attorney General either. Maybe a little bit different on some of the social issues, but as a libertarian, we're not driven by political issues. We're driven by the Constitution and by liberty and citizens' rights. So that's my guiding point, those principles. So when it comes up to a particular issue, I will not be following party line. Of course, I'm going to have a governor to answer to and other cabinet members, and that's all part of the how our wonderful system works. But, for example, in Miami-Dade County, 2 days ago, a lawsuit was filed challenging Florida's constitutional ban on same-sex marriage, Article 1, Section 27. Our Attorney General has not weighed in on that yet, but I'd be willing to bet dollars to donuts that she is going to defend against it.
Mm-hmm.
I would not. I would be like the Attorney General in Pennsylvania, who from the get-go said she was not going to defend against the challenge in her state. And now Virginia's Attorney General, the new Attorney General of Virginia, is dropping the defense. And I had said all along since I started my campaign that if someone doesn't file that lawsuit, I'll find a way to bring it. So, there's definitely it's policy decisions.
I got you. No, absolutely. I mean, and when it comes down there, so when it comes to a lot of these legal challenges that are going on around the state and things that really do make a lot of media attention, that having the voice of a libertarian in the Attorney General spot will ensure that what you're seeing is not something ideologically driven by either the Democrats or the Republicans. It's that by somebody that is steadfast on the Constitution, that this would enable us to have be able to have both. What's the word for it? To be able to have consistency, I guess you could say. What else is going on when it comes to your race right now, Bill? That is that's exciting for you.
Well, we just got a Zazzle store up and running. That's a little bit exciting, so we can get some more promotional material out there. I'm getting invited all over the state. I just spoke to students, Young Americans for Liberty. Young Americans for Liberty at UCF, a really energized group of students down there, and very, very, very knowledgeable, very aware of infringements on liberty and how to make a difference. So I'm getting invited around. I'm in radio shows. That's all exciting. That's not something I normally do. And I've been on radio as an attorney, but I'm not a candidate. This is my first candidacy. Actually, the excitement is the assistance we get, the people that are bringing energy to this campaign.
No, absolutely. Now, if people wanted to find out more about your campaign, Bill, what would be the website that they would go to?
WolsiferForAG.com.
Now, for those of could you spell it out for those of us that can't spell very well like myself?
Yes, sir. WOHLSIFER, the number 4, AG, like AttorneyGeneral.com.
All right.
WolsiferForAttorneyGeneral.com.
Okay, great. Now, Bill, thank you very much. We really appreciate the time. We'll have to do this one again. I know that there was technical difficulties on our end, and we'll make sure we get you back on as soon as we possibly can again. And first off, Bill, thank you very much for deciding to make this run for office. I know that the three of us in this room fully support the campaign that you have, and we do suggest to everybody that Bill Wolsifer is another guy that you need people like Bill in the positions that he's running for in order to ensure that your civil liberties are protected here in the state of Florida. And we thank you very much, Bill, for making that decision to decide to run.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Danielle.
All right, have a great
Thank
day.
you.
All right.
Yeah, we'll have to get Bill back on because I know that there were some technical difficulties on the other end. So,
Well, if you're watching us on YouTube, you actually didn't hear any of the technical difficulties.
oh, I got you. So if you were on YouTube, you would not. Oh, okay. No, we were good then. Okay. All right. Oh, it's really. I'll tell you what kind of sucks a little bit. Like we used to be able, like Lee used to when he chimed in, you'd actually hear Lee on the show. So
Now
like,
he's in our headphones?
Now he's just in my headphones, so I don't actually get to like Lee. We can't converse back and forth with Lee. Like we don't get the hello. Like it's a little like I miss that sometimes. I'm
Yeah.
just saying I miss it. That's all I'm saying.
So,
It's like we have a Snurdly now.
we all actually sound a little crazy because all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay. And nobody heard what you're, oh, okay.
No. I had a hard time with that one myself, though. I really did. I'm not going to lie to you.
You did
I really
pretty
did
good.
have a hard time there. All right, and good job, Bill. I know it was a little impromptu on our part, but we'll make it work. We're Semper Gumby, always flexible. Let's get into the District 13 race. Locally, guys, for the people in the Tampa Bay area, in the St. Petersburg area, and Clearwater area, you are going to be voting in an election on March 11th.
That's March 11th.
March-
Not November,
Yeah,
March.
March 11th. Now, in this race, you're going to have the Republican David Jolly, the lobbyist. You have the Democrat, Alex, and you're going to have Lucas, commercial diver, the regular guy.
Yeah.
The guy that actually has to work for a living.
The guy that actually talks to constituents in District 13.
Yes, the guy that's from there and not coming across the bay.
And doesn't cancel every appearance that they have confirmed.
Yes. So now there's a new there's something new that came out in this race just recently that I don't know about you, but I think it would make some people change their mind about who they might be supporting. So go ahead, Danielle. What is the new information?
Well, David Jolly has gotten a new endorsement this week, and it is from Arizona Senator John McCain.
So John McCain likes David Jolly.
Apparently so. He actually likes him quite a bit.
So,
And he knows him because of David Jolly's 25 years of lobbying work in D.C.
So now this is a quote that's from McCain himself. So we got to remember, if you're listening to this program, and if you listen any time in the past, you realize that John McCain is about on the bottom of our most favorite people, and about on the top of the reviled list.
Yeah.
So
I was expecting another game show host to come out and endorse him, but apparently it was something even more slimy.
well, no, because Drew Carey would probably endorse. That's what we ought to do. Drew Carey ought to endorse Lucas Overby so we can have like an alternative to the game show support.
He is a libertarian.
It'd be like the new Price is Right guy likes Lucas Overby. We got to actually
We
work
have
on
to
that.
work on
Might
that.
lose his job for that.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
don't think we'll get him, but
You don't think we're going to get him? Well,
It's worth a shot.
So-
Let him say no.
yeah. All right. So this is from John McCain. The United States Congress needs principled leaders like David Jolly. Now, again, the principles that he's talking about are the ones that are in line with the establishment, but we'll continue.
Principles of bombing everything that moves.
His experience ensures he will be effective for the people of Pinellas County on day one. What he's talking about is his experience as a lobbyist, in which he's given a Democrat since 2006 $30,000. David has strong convictions, and also believes in civility and working together to get things done. Again, he always likes all the bipartisan support stuff, like, the indefinite detaining of American citizens without trial, things like that. And this support for Americans, and his support for America's men and women in uniform, our veterans, and particularly our wounded warriors, is more than just a campaign promise. He's lived this commitment through service at our military hospitals, at our VA centers, and multiple veterans organizations. It's a commitment to service David will continue in Congress. Here's what he'll continue. He's going to continue, and this is what David Jolly will continue, is that he's going to make sure that we're in more wars, that more people get hurt. That's what David Jolly will continue.
Yes.
And because that's what John McCain likes. And then this comes from David Jolly. So maybe David Jolly doesn't want John McCain's endorsement. Maybe he's different. He's like, well, I don't really like this establishment guy here. So this is from David Jolly again. It is a tremendous honor to have the support of Senator John McCain, a true example of steadfast leadership and service to his constituents and the citizens of the nation, said Jolly. A Navy veteran himself, Senator McCain has worked with members of both parties to ensure our nation's veterans and the veterans of his home state have the support they need and deserve here at home. I thank Senator John McCain for his backing in this race to represent Florida's 13th Congressional District in Washington, and I look forward to working alongside him to ensure our veterans and our men and women in the armed forces continue to have the access to the resources and services they have so rightfully earned. Now, one thing is, this guy said he was going to be ready from day one. He will not be working alongside John McCain, considering that John McCain is in the Senate and not in the House. Having experience means that you don't make comments like this. Unfortunately, we have somebody that's running here that's a lobbyist, in David Jolly, that doesn't understand that. Again, this one statement alone, working alongside him, he's in the Senate, you're in the House. That's a big problem. The other problem is this. These guys will continue wars.
Yes.
David Jolly will continue wars. The endorsement from John McCain only proves that. And it also proves that this guy is not a small government, limited government guy in any way, shape, manner, or form. This guy is a lobbyist who works, he does bipartisan stuff in the worst way in D.C., not in the best way in D.C. Because guys like Ron Paul were able to work bipartisan on things, but they worked in a very good way on bipartisan efforts. David Jolly is not going to be good at all. Now, this is the next part, and this is coming from the NRCC. They're Alex Sink, and this is what the Republicans are going to use, by the way, here. Alex Sink has a history of hurting Florida's families. Now, to be honest with you, that's true.
That is actually true.
Said Katie Prill, spokesman for the NRCC. Not only does this tax and spend liberal continue to support higher taxes for Florida families.
True.
But she also continues to support Obamacare, which is causing Pinellas families to lose their health care coverage. Alex Sink is a risk that Pinellas County just can't afford. That's the third part. This is what they're going to try to do in this race. They're going to tell you that Alex Sink is a risk Pinellas County just can't afford. The difference between David Jolly and Alex Sink is not nearly enough for that statement to be correct. It's just not. The facts are already there. What David Jolly is proposing, what David Jolly is supporting. Now, don't get me wrong. When he's got Lucas in a room, he tries to go all libertarian on you, like, I believe in auditing the Fed, and I think we should do this, and I think we should do this. It's all lies. He's a lobbyist. It's his job. All right?
Right.
He was a lobbyist. He gave $30,000 to Democrats since 2006. If Alex Sink is just a risk Pinellas County can't afford because she's some tax and spend liberal, then I don't know if you would be giving $6,000 or $8,000 or however many thousands of dollars to Jesse Jackson Jr. Because that's what David Jolly did.
Who is equally as dangerous. And also Bill Nelson and Kathy Castor was on his list of people he donated to.
Both.
Well, that's the problem. It's a list of establishment hacks. Right. It's not like he's donating to like the outside the establishment Democrats and Republicans. He's dealing with the establishment hacks. Yeah. The worst people, the people we need out. That's who's on his side.
He ain't stroking checks to Kucinich, you know?
No.
You know, he wasn't doing that. He was giving money to Jesse Jackson Jr. in the establishment. Again, there is one option you have in this race, and his name is Lucas Overby. That's it. There's nothing else. Neither one of these people are worthy of your support. They will continue the status quo. They will continue what's currently going on in Washington right now. It's a shame that the Republicans were not smart enough to actually select like David Bircher or something like that. I don't get me wrong.
Mark Bircher.
Mark Bircher. I'm sorry, not David Bircher. Mark Bircher. It's sad that they wouldn't do that because out of all three of those candidates that they had running, he was the best they had, which wasn't even saying much. They didn't even setting the bar that high. They went with the worst of the three. They went with the lobbyist.
Yeah.
Don't let them win this. Now, if you're in the Pinellas County area, again, we've talked about this before, and we'll talk about it until this election happens.
Until March 11th.
50,000 votes is what it's going to take for Lucas to win. If you're listening to my voice, more than likely there's 50,000 people listening to this radio show on Tan Talk 1340. You people can change the world. You can make history in Pinellas. We know you're listening because we got bigger votes for Gary Johnson when he was running for office, when he was running for president. The Pinellas did well. You know why? Because we're on Tan Talk 1340 telling you that. Listen, please, I beg of you. Maybe you don't agree with everything that libertarians say. I'll go with that. You don't agree with all of us. Maybe you'll have to hold your nose to vote for Lucas. Do it. Do it. Take the risk with us. Help us here. And I know it sounds funny. Lucas is right. If you spend any time talking with Lucas, you will be turned. You will go, you know what, man, I will vote for that guy. I will support that guy. Ask people in the black community what's going on right now. Ask people in the Hispanic community what's going on right now. Because the libertarians are reaching out. And the Democrats are scared out of their minds because they think they own your vote. They think they own your vote. They think that there's no way you can vote for anybody else and we'll just put up somebody as bad as Alex Sink and you'll just vote for them. Prove them wrong. Prove them that no one owns your vote, that you are a free, beautiful individual, and that you will do as you wish because you want the government to start leaving you alone, and you no longer believe the lies of the Democrats, you no longer believe the lies of the Republicans, that you want liberty, and you want freedom in this country, and you can have that. You can change the game today. You can change the game March 11th when you vote for Lucas Overby. Sorry, got a little rant there. My apologies. My apologies. Little rant. Let's take a break. Let me get some Ritalin. We'll be all right. Everybody's going to be okay. We're going to be good. You're listening to Liberty Underground.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground. If you'd like to call the program, the Refresh Telecom lines is 1-800-525-4032. That's 1-800-525-4032. Refresh Telecom, they will not give your information to the feds unless they have a court order, which is really all the selling point that you need in order to go with Refresh Telecom. They're very easy to use, by the way, as well. And it's really, really nice to have them as a sponsor of the program. But on the line with us right now is our most favorite guest in the whole world, in the universe, I would argue, that even from the people that we've had on from Mars, that he's better than those people too. So I'm going to go with the entire solar system on this one.
And 102.5 does not own this content in the entire universe.
That's right. Brandon, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, and it's good to know that I've beaten out the folks from Mars.
Exactly. Now, I wanted to ask you, I wanted to get your take a little bit, because I know that you've interviewed Lucas. What is your thoughts on what's going on with the District 13 race?
Well, I think that if people are anti-Republican establishment, they might be happy to know John McCain has endorsed David Jolly. So maybe that will allow for some other Republicans to give Lucas Overby at least a look. I think that it was a little discouraging with some of the Bay News 9 polls and some things that I've seen here that we haven't seen a better number. But again, that doesn't really reflect the average Joe. You know, if we can get a turnout of folks that Lucas has spoken to, then, you know, Lucas could fare very well. And right now, the main media focus will be only on those two major candidates, with a slight mention of the third candidate. And all I can do is say that I have been impressed with my interactions with them, answering questions, not dodging questions, giving real-life solutions, and a practical vision of things, not just the absolute end game, and knowing that some of these things might be a process that will take some time.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the one thing I think that he is able to do. Now, when it comes to the polls, to the way that the media has treated it, the one good spot out of that is that he is going to be included in the February 3rd debate, and I thought that was a really good sign that maybe a corner might be turned here, where we're going to see some even footing from some third party candidates in some of these debates. What is your thoughts on his inclusion in the debates, and what kind of effect do you think that will have overall? Again, let's go with that he will do well in the debates. What do you think what kind of an effect that will have?
Well, everything is going to hinge on their poll numbers going into the debate and out of the debate. If they actually can see that his inclusion in the debate makes a difference, and let's say he goes from, 3, 5, 7% up to double digits in just one debate, then it's going to increase the likelihood that they would include a libertarian in future debates. Obviously, Adrian Wiley in the Florida governor's race, those kinds of things. And I think it was a great litmus test for them to be able to answer to critics by trying to do this, because there was really no really explanation other than the right thing to do, but there's really no explanation on why they chose to do it this time when they hadn't chosen to do it in previous debates.
No, exactly. I mean, it is going to be a litmus test. We are going to see if we're going to have more. But I'm feeling pretty good about this. I think he's going to do well. I really do think that he will do well in these debates. On to other news. What's going on out there, Brandon, this week that has that caught your eye? That's something that really the media, the mainstream media itself, is kind of ignoring.
Well, I'm not sure it's being ignored, but I definitely want to begin at least by buttoning up our topic last week, where the president was going to speak on the NSA, which he did Friday after the show. And just wanted to run through a couple of points that I highlighted from his speech. We have the entire speech there. You can see the entire transcript for yourself. And first thing is that he, there's a couple of fallacies that I don't find the truth of these statements, and you can point me if I've missed the stories where he says that he had curbed the excesses of this type of program, and that he has, quote, maintained a healthy skepticism towards our surveillance programs after he became president. Now, I don't remember either of those two things ever happening. Now, all of the solutions from the speech all involved oversight, regulation, committee forming, all of those kinds of things, with the exception of one thing. And there's a paragraph, and he says, I therefore am ordering a transition that will end Section 215 bulk metadata program as it currently exists and establish a mechanism that preserves the capabilities that we need, blah, blah, blah. But he gets down to phone calls. He talks about 2 steps versus 3 steps. And we talked about that a little bit on your show where, if you're in a circle with a, quote, known terrorist, then the people that are in your circle, that's the second step away from the terrorist, and then the circles go on from there. And they've been monitoring out 3 circles. Well, 3 circles is thousands and thousands degrees away from somebody. So that actually is a change that would probably grant us a little bit more privacy in that regard. But all of the talk about ending or changing programs, he just kind of danced around.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then I know you guys have repealed or talked about this as well, that the report came out that shows that what they're doing really is illegal. That was done by a commission that was, supposedly head up by the, by the White House and set this thing up. And then that now they're just really ignoring this. What is your thought on, because I know you guys have reported on it. What's your guys' thought on that? And do you think that will have a difference?
It will not have a difference. And actually, one other quote from his speech really kind of gives you the example of where we are, where it talks about, repairing the damage to our court operations. But more importantly, he said, he used the phrase, preventing more disclosures from taking place. This is exactly in correlation to a source that has spoken to us about why the Snowden story is so big and why it is politically so motivating, because he hasn't really revealed anything that hasn't already been sort of kind of known or at least talked about for almost 10 years. I mean, it goes back to 2005 to 2008 for sure. But it was all about making an example out of Snowden. They're terrified that other people will come forward with more information, more specifics. And ultimately, if we ever had names, there ultimately could be viable lawsuits that could shut down these programs.
Yeah, exactly. That is the key, the viable lawsuits. I hate to relate it to something that is happening here in the state of Florida, but the correlation is Adrian doesn't get pulled over. Why doesn't he get pulled over? Everybody knows he doesn't have a license. It's because they don't want it to be challenged in court. I remember that Judge Napolitano always tells that story about the librarian who actually, they went and they gave her a warrant saying, we want you to find this information out. We want to look this up. She couldn't read it. She says to her 78-year-old assistant, what is this? And then they arrest her because not only are you're not allowed to tell anybody what we're looking for, and they arrested her for that, but then they threw that out of court before it actually went to trial because they realized that they were going to lose that, and they couldn't. The loss in court would drastically change what it is that they're doing. It would change the law. Is that, I guess, ultimately what they're afraid of more than anything else?
Yeah, if we had proof that, Brandon Jones and Alex Snitker's records are being pulled, and there's no proof that we had any criminal wrongdoing or anything tied to any of these terrorists that are, quote, in our circles, then we would have grounds. We would actually have standing. The ACLU lawsuits that have always been thrown out because we can't prove our names are sort of those ones that are being combed through.
Yeah, exactly. What else is going on out there, Brandon?
I really want to have a PSA moment. If you're going to the movies, don't take your Google glasses. Just saying. Don't do it.
I saw that.
Homeland Security shook down a poor man in Ohio who went to a theater to watch the Jack Ryan film. He had turned off the the technology recording functionalities, all those kinds of things. He had their prescription glasses, and Homeland Security shows up, drags him out of the theater. He's interrogated. He's probed, the whole 9 yards, because he has on Google Glass. So just in case you think that Hollywood is remotely not in bed with the government, one phone call from the MPAA and Homeland Security shows up.
It's amazing that they were able to work that quickly. And do you know any more of the information that's kind of surrounding this one? Because how did they get Homeland Security there that quickly?
Well, that's the thing. I think that we lost a couple days for where this guy actually went public and told his story. So we're kind of still chasing some details to understand, when the manager calls the MPAA, and how did that go so quickly to the local Homeland Security office? But you know what? Maybe that's how they handle it. I really don't know. I know that there is a lot of security threats and things like that with piracy and the FBI, but I had never really thought that ICE and Homeland Security would be the ones that would be showing up to, harass
to the movie theater.
Yeah, and I understand that it's a Jack Ryan film. It's a big security film, but it's a film. Like, you don't need national security when you're watching a show that was a make-believe movie about national security, I wouldn't think.
I think what bothers me most about this is if you call 911 from your house, you're not going to get a response like this. A rich white man's money is in danger and the NSA shows up in 30 seconds. A poor black man's life is in danger and no one's coming. That's the world we live in, people.
Well, that is it. You can call 911 and have an actual emergency, and it takes longer. And in some cases, I won't say all, but in some cases, it takes longer for emergency to show up when you call 911 than a theater manager saying, "Hey, this guy's got some weird glasses on."
Yeah, exactly. Brandon, what else is going on out there?
Well, I have to say that maybe Sean Hannity will actually leave New York, because Andrew Cuomo's kind of upset him a little bit, basically talking about conservatives that are right to life, pro-assault weapon, and anti-gay don't have a place in New York. So, hey, if that inconveniences Sean Hannity, so be it.
Well, my only problem with this, I really wish Cuomo wouldn't have said this, and not for the same reasons that he thinks. Look, Hannity's fine in New York. I really don't want Sean Hannity to move to Florida, because I'm hoping Texas wins this. If you want to call it a lottery, then go ahead. But I really don't want Sean Hannity in the state of Florida.
Well, because that was, because we did have to. We were on the road and we had to listen to him because there was nothing else coming in for a little while, and it was Texas and Florida. He was like, "I'm going to choose one of those in 2016." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, man, you can't come here!"
Like, go Texas, go Longhorns, please. The last thing we need is Sean Hannity in this state. That's just not a good thing. What else is going on out there, Brandon?
Well, I got to say, because we already have Rush Limbaugh. Isn't that enough? And Rush Limbaugh, by the way, was blamed by our president during an interview. He was asked about the difficulties in a New Yorker interview of dealing with the GOP problems with John Boehner and all of that. And he basically just blamed Fox News and Rush Limbaugh and said they painted him as a caricature, and that's why these leaders are so afraid to just go along with his agenda, which I didn't really know they were opposing his agenda, but evidently, according to the interview, it's Rush Limbaugh's fault.
I would like to see what part of his agenda they opposed.
Yeah, which one are they really standing up to,
And honestly, nobody painted him as a caricature. He did that himself.
Yeah, it is a little sad though that. And you see this happening, president after president getting worse and worse, where they really just blame everybody else. Like, it's never their fault. Like, they're never the ones that did it wrong. It's always everybody else, or Rush Limbaugh or Fox News. Fox News is blamed for so many things that's not even funny, which, don't get me wrong, look, I'm no fan of Fox, by the way. But just for the president to go there and blame Fox for this, it really is kind of pathetic.
Maybe he has the same PR team as Trey Radel.
Maybe he does have the same PR team as Trey Radel.
It's not like they're libertarians that believe in personal responsibility and accountability or anything.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point, by the way, on both sides of the fence there. I am trying to I'm trying to go as long as I can before I actually get into the movie stuff. So before we get anything movie related,
before we do that, let me just. Danielle, you have to reset the clock. You weren't the only one that had mentioned the weird news, so we put the weird news back on the bottom of the homepage. And, by the way, yes, the top weird news story is from Florida.
I saw that. I did see it.
All right, back in the news. Back in the news. I love it.
It didn't take long.
How can you say no to an exorcism story where the poor man drags his poor child out in the woods? And fortunately, the child's okay. Unlike the story out of New York a few days ago where, these crazy women actually murdered their children because they were, quote, performing an exorcism. So I don't know what's going on in the exorcism market, but evidently it's booming.
Like, are they getting, exorcism notes on Facebook? Like, and everybody in the country has to perform an exorcism because it is a few too many stories on exorcisms of children in the news than there ever should be.
And what happened to this guy's face?
This guy's high on meth. I mean, he's a mess. And then, of course, he runs from the police through the woods, and they literally say he had almost like superhuman strength. Like he's punched the police dog and whatever. So they had to kind of punch him down. So that's why he's really battered in this mugshot. When you see it, you're gonna be like, "Holy cow, what happened to this guy?" Well, he kind of brought it on himself. Well, he was high on meth.
That is an injury that I don't even know how you do.
I don't understand.
I don't even know.
Across the face.
I don't even know the one across the face. Like, how does that even happen? Is that from the dog or what's that from?
No, they're saying that's from the weeds and the brush that he was running through, trying to run from them. They're lashing him in the face and his whole body and stuff.
Oh, I guess I got you there. I don't know if the cops are necessarily. That's just, and it's Bryan Adams too. I mean, I loved his music. He was great.
He's going to run to you.
You wouldn't expect this of a Canadian, would you?
You would not. I would. You're right. I would not expect this from a Canadian. But that's okay. And Greg did use the. He tried to run to you, and it just didn't work out.
So this time he was running from the cops.
Yeah, this time he was running from the cops. On a lighter note, well, I don't know if you want to call it a lighter note or not, but on a non-political front, the movies, not the movies, but TV. I know that Revolution is back. I've watched the past couple weeks.
Me and Kelly finished it up last night. Yeah.
One question I had for you, Brandon. When I first saw the new season, it's like I missed an episode. Was there an episode that wasn't aired?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, all right, because for some reason it looked like there's an episode that I'm missing from last season, like at the end. Because I know what happened is that some special things ended up happening on Wednesday nights, and it was where we didn't, where it was supposed to be on, but it wasn't on. And I'm just wondering if maybe they just moved that last episode to a different time at the end.
You could check your on-demand and make sure that you didn't miss anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think that they've picked up the season pretty well now. They've they still have some of the science fiction elements, but it's a little bit more under control than it had been in the early part of the season because it was really dominating the show way too much, and it was actually distracting from the human drama.
Yeah, no, it was, and they're trying to get back to it. I still don't understand how these guys always get out of these messes that they're in, though, and then they always end up finding each other again. Like if you're living in a world where communication is basically zero, and you're having to just walk around and stuff, like how do you end up finding everybody? Like they're in Washington, and they got to go to Texas, and they're it ain't like they can take a plane. It ain't like Amtrak's working. Like how are they getting around?
You can lose your family at the mall or the theme park. These people find each other in Texas.
Yeah, exactly. It's amazing how, in some nondescript area somewhere in the country, everybody showed up. Like,
it's like we live in the same city as all of our friends and neighbors, and how often do we actually run across them while we're out running around?
Exactly, exactly. So it is.
My son brought up a good point, by the way. He said, notice that there's really no wild animals that kills anybody, because if there's no civilization for 15 years, the snake population and all these things would be so out of control. You couldn't just walk across Texas. No way you'd make it there alive.
There's no bears.
That's a good point, by the way.
At some point, they always hide in these caves when they're on the run, and there's never a bear or a wolf in any of them.
Yeah, I think that's one of the difference between that and The Walking Dead is that they can have a normal scene in The Walking Dead, and all of a sudden zombies come up and somebody dies. It's a nondescript scene, or they're driving around somewhere, and all of a sudden zombies come out. Now that's the next thing, The Walking Dead. What do you think is going to happen with this thing?
Well, it's going to be an interesting episode or two. They're going to really focus on the son, Carl, he's going to have kind of a lot more time, a little FaceTime in the beginning of the season, and then we'll ultimately try to figure out how to pull everybody back together. And there are introduction of a few new characters, so I don't want to spoil too much of that. But you can go to the Walking Dead tab there on the Global Dispatch, and you can get all your Walking Dead news.
Yeah, which is always nice.
By the way, did you see the Norman Reedus prank where they pranked Daryl?
No, I didn't. What happened?
Okay, you have to go to the Walking Dead thing. You have to find the Norman Reedus prank. They found there's a super fan. He's actually missing his legs and one of his arms. He's a huge Walking Dead fan. He has dressed up in makeup. He's gone to grocery stores. They've videotaped him pranking people as a zombie, all these things, to try to get on the show. They flew him overseas so he could prank Daryl, played by Norman Reedus, in one of the rooms. And you cannot believe this video. It's fantastic.
Okay, we'll have to check that one out. That's good. Hey, and let me ask you maybe an overall question. What have you thought about The Walking Dead overall? Like, how has this show been as it relates towards other shows that really have gotten like, kind of like that I don't want to say a cult kind of following because it's way bigger than that, but that have just gotten this big. Like, how have they been able to deliver?
Well, there really hasn't been anything quite like The Walking Dead. I mean, even other cult-type followings of television shows, really you only have something like Star Trek that I think I can really compare it to because, but that was built over such a long period of time. Something like Walking Dead and the phenomenon of this has really been fueled, number one, by not only the great writing and the great efforts that have gone into the different aspects of the different seasons, but also their PR campaign is just absolutely amazing. They have actors and actresses in nearly every single city and every single comic show, every single special effects science fiction convention. There's one coming up in March, and they have 3 or 4 people that are going to be there from the show. So they're reaching out to fans, building those fan bases, being, very friendly to the people that are, paying the bills.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that they've done. Well, Brandon, we thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming on again today. And the website is theglobaldispatch.com. Brandon, thank you for your time, brother.
Have a good one, my friends. Talk hard.
And talk hard. All right, guys. Well, that's the show for today. If you wanted to listen to hour number 3, though, hour number 3 is available for you on YouTube. So you can go to the 1787 Network, and you can go on YouTube and hear hour number 3, along with all the podcasts for all the shows. And the 1787 Network, we put out a lot of other stuff that is out there when it comes to rants or special interviews. And if you go to our website, the 1787network.com, you can click on podcasts and see all of that information there, along with recent articles and different calls to action that you can take in order to make your world just a little bit of a better place. What do you think, Danielle? Any final thoughts on this show today?
No, just stay with us in the third hour if you're near a computer, and we'll see you next week. And start supporting Lucas Overby.
Yep, definitely start supporting Lucas Overby, guys. Again, you can change this country come March 11th, the direction of this country come March 11th, with a vote for Lucas Overby. Beautiful thing. Ain't that America? You listening to Liberty Underground. We'll see you guys next week.
Hi, this is Gary Johnson, and you're listening to the 1787 Radio Network.
Facts about the red light cameras. Fact, you are guilty until proven innocent. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution grants you the presumption of innocence. Fact, red light cameras cause accidents. Accidents are up on an average of 40% at intersection with cameras. Fact, cameras punish technical foul violations. Over 80% of tickets are written when the red light is on, under 1/2 second. Join the fight at www.banthecams.org. www.banthecams.org.
At Auto Body Unlimited, they work with their hands and heart to provide outstanding high-quality work and customer service. They specialize in European automobile collision repair work and refinish. At Auto Body Unlimited, they bring your car up to manufacturer standards, or they will buy your car back. They have dedicated equipment and use the same processes and paint that you would get from the factory. At Auto Body Unlimited, they don't work for the insurance company, they work for you. Auto Body Unlimited is located at 1300 Sunset Point Road in Clearwater. Call 727-443-4041 or on the web at autobodyunlimited.com. Visit Auto Body Unlimited for all of your repair needs. They work for you. If you received a ticket in Florida, contact Oropesa Law Offices, 800-774-9883 or tacklemyticket.com. Attorney Oropesa understands the stress associated with being charged with a traffic ticket. In many non-criminal ticket cases, there may be no court appearance, no points, and no traffic school. Attorney Oropesa handles criminal violations, DUI, and license suspension matters. Don't face these serious legal matters alone. Initial consultation is free. Call now and you will be advised about any potential defense, constitutional rights violations, the possibility of having your driving privileges restored, or preventing a suspension from going into effect. If you've been classified as a habitual traffic offender, have a driver's license suspension matter, or a pending DUI case, call Oropesa Law Offices now so you can be advised about your particular case. Call 1-800-774-9883 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or visit tacklemyticket.com. Main office in Pinellas County and serving all of the Tampa Bay area. Find out more at tacklemyticket.com. Mention Liberty Underground and get 25% off.
Liberty starts with a like. Facebook.com/Liberty Underground.
You know Going Postal offers shipping with UPS, FedEx, and DHL International, and they're a full-service post office. And Going Postal is not just your one-stop shop for shipping. They offer copying, laminating, faxing, packaging, and they even have a notary public service. Visit our friends at Going Postal at the following convenient locations: Palm Harbor at the corner of Tampa Road and County Road 1 in the Sweet Bay Plaza, St. Pete on 66th Street, just south of Tyrone Boulevard near Publix, and be sure to visit their newest location at 35595 US 19 North at Alderman Road next to Publix in Palm Harbor.
When the unthinkable happens, it doesn't matter if you save money in 15 minutes. It doesn't matter if your neighbor has the same insurance you do. In this moment, what matters is the quality of your independent agent and the company that stands behind them. Auto Owners Insurance has been recognized as highest in customer satisfaction with the auto insurance claims experience 5 years in a row by J.D. Power and Associates. For award information, go to jdpower.com. Call Row Insurance in Newport Richey today at 727-376-0030.
Welcome back to Liberty Underground, the third hour, the big hour, the hour that goes beyond anything that human history has ever seen.
The hour of power.
The hour of power, along with the minister of the sinister, Greg Bowen, and the damsel of destruction, Danielle Alexandre. I hope you are enjoying the show today. This hour will be heated. It will be exciting. You'll have laughs, cries, dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Oh, it worked that time. Ain't that something? And if you do want to call the program and participate in this anarchy, the number is 1-800-525-4032, the Refresh Telecom lines, 1-800-525-4032. Just be warned that every time that you call, Danielle gets just a little angrier because you're messing with her prep.
I do hours of show prep, and anyone who calls derails my OCD obsession with making sure we go in order of the prep list that I have on there.
So please call into the show and disrupt it as much as possible.
Contribute to anarchy.
That is my little, no, that's not on the schedule. I did not time out phone calls.
However, the Walsifer mix-up,
that was my fault.
that is on you.
That was my fault.
You're going to have to go ahead and own that one.
I did. I actually, they did confirm it for the 24th. When I transferred it from the messages to the calendar, I put it a week behind.
Yes. So
See, someone's going to call right now to mess with my show prep. And you know who it's going to be? I know exactly who it's going to be.
I don't know who it's going to be. I really don't know who it's going to be. It could be anybody. It could be... uh-oh.
Let me transfer you on.
We're going to transfer somebody on. Who is calling in this time, Greg? Or are you just going to leave it as a surprise? We'll just leave it as a surprise, huh? Now we'll leave it as a surprise.
I just said the name.
Did you? I didn't hear you. I was busy talking. Yeah. I'm sorry that I was talking in the middle of you interrupting me.
I can't help it that you didn't hear my response because you talked over me.
Yes. Caller, you're on the air. Who are you?
No, caller is now on the air.
Oh, caller, you're now on the air. Who are you? Answer me.
It's Karina. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh, it's Karina. Okay.
I thought it was going to be Adrian.
Oh,
just to mess with my OCD.
I got you. Well, there's only like 3 or 4 people that even call, so odds are we know who the person is going to call. I'd love to have somebody we didn't know call. That would be awesome.
I just think that they should submit the request beforehand.
In triplicate.
In triplicate.
Are you kidding
and
me?
then I could schedule it in.
Okay, I got you. Well, go ahead, Karina. What do you have to add?
Oh, I'm just giving you a shout out because I wanted to make sure that Danielle's OCD was doing well this morning.
She didn't have anything to add. She's like, you know what? I'm just going to call
I
in.
was going to call just so the phone rings, and she's like,
Screw your OCD. That's what it is. Screw that. We're going to mess this thing all up for you.
Here's what I think of your rules and structure and lists and all this organization.
Phone calls, we don't need no sticking phone calls,
Like, I've gotten to the point where because I like Greg and Alex's normal reaction, like the first reaction to hearing a story, I don't even let them read the show prep anymore.
She literally does show prep, and we don't even see it. Like, she'll send it to us, but then she's like, don't read it.
Alex went and was like, oh my God, I can't believe it was a story from last week. He's like, I can't believe that guy said that. And I'm like, why are you reading the show prep? Get off of there right now.
Like, there's no talking to each other before the show. We can't read the show prep. We are systematically doing the opposite of what preparing for a show would do. We're on purpose. It's systematic.
I prepare.
Yes.
And listen, when I prepare for something, I prepare enough for everybody.
Yes, you are definitely sharing the preparedness wealth. Good job on you. Is there anything you do want to add, Karina? Please, at this time, if you have something to add, please do it.
Oh, I just want to give a shout out, and if anybody has 15 minutes a day to get on the phones or even come out this weekend to walk doors, come out.
Oh, hey, what's the address and the time on Saturday's walk, by the way, for Lucas Overby's campaign?
We're going to be at the Clearwater Countryside Library. It's on State Road 580. Off of it's just off of McMullen Booth Road. We're going to meet at the library at noon, and then go out from there.
On Saturday at noon?
Saturdays at noon because the town hall isn't until 2:30.
Oh, I got you.
And you know how well I do in the morning time.
Well, that's only because you're working so many hours a day. That's all it is. It's not. Well, maybe you're not a morning person either. I mean, I'm not gonna go into whether you're a morning person or not. But I know that when you're up till 4 a.m, it does make it difficult to be somewhere very early, especially when you're doing that 8 days a week, and there's only 7 days in the week. So.
And Alex would know that because that's his schedule.
Well, yeah, it is. I do a little bit different, but normally there's drinking involved on a Friday night. Before the Saturday, I go out and walk, and then I have to puke in order to get rid of the alcohol before I go walking doors.
You actually have to go there tonight.
What?
Never mind. We'll talk about it off air.
Going out on a Friday night before a Saturday morning walk is not a good plan.
No.
I figured that out.
Yes, it is a bad plan.
So we're meeting at the office tonight, Karina?
so we're going out for some drinks then.
No, Karina was at the office last night. I'm skipping tonight.
And I love it that you call your local bar the office.
Oh, don't give it away. That was a good time. That was funny. I was into that. Oh, man.
Where are you, honey? I'm at the office. Leave me alone. I'm at the office.
Well, Karina, we thank you very much for helping us in derailing what Danielle wanted to talk about going into the next hour. We appreciate that very much.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'll press play so I can listen again. Love you guys.
Thanks. We'll see you later, Karina.
Thanks, Karina.
Oh,
Thanks, Karina.
God, you just knew somebody was going to call.
I knew it.
All right, what's the next story, Danielle? Take us down the road. Where do you want us to go?
Well, when I do the show prep, I look for news, and I try to look for a lot of Florida-based news. And unfortunately, there was a subject that I didn't really want to talk about, but I couldn't actually look up Florida news without getting to it because Governor Rick Scott was all over the news everywhere this week. So we are going to spend some time talking about Governor Rick Scott. And if you don't like him, wileyforgovernor.com, you're going to like him even less after we're done.
WileyForGovernor.com.
Governor Scott actually was talking to some people this week, and he did say that he would vote against a medical marijuana ballot initiative. Now, he can't stop it from being on the ballot. He's certainly trying. Well, at least Pam Bondi's trying to stop it from being on the ballot. But as long as it makes it through the Florida Supreme Court, it will be on the ballot. We will be voting on it in 2014. And while Governor Scott can't actually stop that from happening and can't stop you from voting for it, he is going to personally vote against it.
I did a rant on this one, actually.
I know. That's why I stopped, because I thought you'd have something to say here.
Well, here's the thing. Where is Rick Scott from? And I don't mean like what state or what region is he from.
Eternia.
But he was from HCA.
Yes.
So he's in the healthcare and medical industry.
Yes.
Dude makes his money still indirectly on Big Pharma.
Yes.
Big Pharma does not want you to be able to grow your own medicine. Which, look, don't get me wrong. Look, marijuana doesn't cure everything that's in this under the sun.
But it cures
except
a lot.
for cancer, maybe. Which just in and of itself is amazing. And then Rick Scott tries to be like, well, I really feel for those people, but I've seen the bad effects of that in alcohol. And I think I'm going to be personally voting against it. Well, you know what? Hey, that's fine, Rick Scott, because personally I'm going to be voting against you. So,
WileyForGovernor.com.
Yeah, WileyForGovernor.com, folks. Now, I want to flip the script a little bit here on you real quick.
Okay.
Because Adam Smith has put out a article on January 23rd called "The Incredible Shrinking Charlie Crist Campaign." So let's make sure we're equal opportunity offenders today.
Okay.
So this is from Adam Smith. I'm no fan of, by the way, and I'm kind of surprised that he wrote this though, considering, this guy.
His love affair with Charlie Crist.
Yeah, his love affair with Charlie Crist. He goes, it may not be readily apparent if you follow the Florida media that constantly notes Charlie Crist's campaign for governor, or the Washington pundits who describe Charlie Crist versus Rick Scott as the race to watch in 2014. Again, not
because
really
of Wiley.
Yeah, I'm not mentioning Adrian Wiley. But here's the reality. There is no real Crist campaign for governor. That's what he wrote. And I'll say it again. But here's the reality. There is no real Crist campaign for governor. Sure, he announced a couple days ago that Barack Obama's campaign manager, Jim Messina, is on board, and Obama's digital director, Terry Golf, has signed on too. Obama World has opened up a bunch of Democratic fundraising donors from Hollywood and beyond, but it's been nearly 3 months since Crist officially announced his candidacy, and at least 10 since everyone knew he was preparing to do just that. Where the rubber meets the road, there is, for all purposes, no Charlie Crist campaign except for a fundraising operation that so far appears to be hardly daunting. Crist campaign headquarters coming soon. Campaign manager coming soon. Halfway decent website coming soon. Press operation coming soon. Grassroots organizing, who knows? Weekly announcements of the Florida County leadership teams. Dream on. It seems Team Crist, which largely consists of Charlie Crist and Carol Crist, John Morgan, maybe a few Obama campaign alums, pressed the reset button soon after his so-so campaign kickoff in downtown St. Petersburg. This is Adam Smith tearing apart the campaign of Charlie Crist.
Or the lack thereof.
Or the lack thereof. Here's the thing. Let's just call it what it is. Adrian Wiley has a much more organized and structured campaign with more people in place than Charlie Crist.
Yes.
And that the ambulance chaser's employee, Charlie Crist, is not really trying to run a serious campaign, Democrats. How does that taste?
Well,
how does that taste?
It seems like we started with a better and more well-staffed campaign team than Charlie Crist has after several months.
Yeah. Yeah. This is funny. And he's not even raising, from what they're saying, he's not even raising good money.
Well, comparatively, you have to understand, Rick Scott is raising, millions and millions of dollars. And the reason why is because he is the pay-to-play governor.
Yes.
As Anderson Cooper pointed out on CNN on Wednesday night. Rick Scott is a very well-known, if you give me a lot of money, your company is going to be able to do business in Florida.
God, it's just, I mean, look, you remember the South Park episode? You guys, and you know exactly the episode I'm talking about when I say the South Park episode about a big giant douche and a turd sandwich.
Yes.
Look,
would you like me to pull up the audio?
Yeah. Hold on. Do you actually have the audio?
I have
of this?
that audio.
Oh, let's go ahead and play that audio. We ought to have that on the standby.
Wasn't there a
yeah,
song?
go ahead. No, I don't think there's a song that goes along with the
okay.
big giant douche and the turd sandwich. But you are looking at a race that has a big giant douche and a turd sandwich in it.
All right, here it is.
I think voting is great. I just didn't care this time because it was between a giant douche and a turd sandwich.
But Stan, don't you know? It's always between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. Nearly every election since the beginning of time has been between some douche and some turd. They're the only people who suck up enough to make it that far in politics.
That's the reality.
Hold on a second. I love that there's chickens in the back. Play it again. Play it again.
I think voting is great. I just didn't care this time because it was between a giant douche and a turd sandwich.
But Stan, don't you know? It's always between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. Nearly every election since the beginning of time has been between some douche and some turd. They're the only people who suck up enough to make it that far in politics.
Listen, folks, you don't have to vote for the big giant turd or the big giant douche or the turd sandwich in this election. You can pick, what would Adrian be considered? I mean, if we're going to go with analogies where it's a big giant douche against a turd sandwich, what's Adrian? Like a gold coin.
A gold coin. We'll go with that.
A gold coin. Or a thank you note. Or what else would Adrian be there?
A steak dinner.
A steak dinner, yeah. Like a real Ruth Christ's.
Yeah.
When it comes to you, it's still kind of
Maybe some
sizzling
surf
a little
and turf,
bit.
maybe a lobster tail with
yeah.
I think that's aiming kind of high since all we've had to choose from is a giant douche and a turd sandwich. I would just like the choice of a clean washcloth. if he can at least be that for us.
Vote for Wiley. He's a clean washcloth.
This election, you really do have nothing but a turd sandwich and a big giant douche. But Adrian Wiley is the washcloth that'll ensure that the big giant douche and the turd sandwich don't hurt you anymore. Vote for cleanliness. WileyForGovernor.com, folks.
This message has not been approved by the Wiley campaign.
This has not been approved by the Wiley campaign. More than likely, that Adrian is probably getting in the car right now, heading up here to attack us in the studio. And hopefully we'll still be on the air, so at least we'll get it on video because that'll be kind of cool.
It was not approved, and it was certainly not paid for by the Wiley campaign.
Oh, you know what?
Not in conjunction with any candidate or campaign.
Yes. You know what? I know we're currently on the dump on Rick Scott and make fun of Charlie Crist's campaign bandwagon right now. There's one thing that we did forget to mention that I wanted to remind us of now. On Thursday, the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Pasco County, in an effort to show protest to what is currently going on with our government, paid his property taxes of $12,000 and some change in $1 bills. Again, this is the business property tax, not the other property tax, not the personal one. So went in there and paid that. I was there, recorded the whole thing. We do got to get the video put together. But we will be getting that video put together, and we'll post that out on 1787network.com. But I will tell you that was I was there for that, and that was pretty fun. I got to tell you, kind of boring too, though, because you literally have to sit there and wait until they count all the money. And when you have $12,000 in $1 bills, and there's two people counting the money, it does take a little bit of time. But they did make it around the 2-hour mark, so that was good. And let me also say this. When I was there, almost the entire time, there was no person that came in that needed to do business or needed to pay them their tax money that had to wait to do it. There were people that would try to sit down, would sit down in the waiting chairs, and just about as they got their butt on the seat, it'd be like, "Who's next?" And that person would get back up and then go to the line. It would happen over and over again. It was funny to watch, actually.
That means next time he needs to pay in nickels.
Oh my gosh! Could you see $12,000 in nickels? By the way, oh my gosh! Do you know? God, that would suck. That would suck. That would really be like even I consider that one to be rude. Really, I actually consider that one to be rude.
2 quarters. Come on, that would be great.
Oh,
I didn't go to Penny's.
Yeah, that's true. You didn't go to Penny's. That's a good point.
I really hope this becomes like an epidemic of people that say, you know what, I'm going to pay in dollar bills too.
Yes.
So I really hope that, people all over just start paying their tax bills in $1 bills. Like if you're not, obviously if you have a mortgage and you're escrowing, your mortgage company is taking care of that, and I understand that. But if you are paying in a check at the end of the year, or it's actually at the beginning of the year, do it in dollars. Like everyone around the country just start paying all your tax bills in dollars. You want to renew your auto tag? Pay in singles. Actually, your auto tag is only about $100 or maybe $150. Pay it in quarters.
Yeah. I think that I think the governing rule should be this: if you're under $200,
quarters,
go with some quarters or something like that. If you're under $50, I'm cool with pennies there. And if you're over 1,000, it's dollars.
Right.
I think that's a good way to go. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on that. And I'm not trying to make steadfast rules here for your civil disobedience. I mean, paying everything in dollars. I actually think what I'm going to do now is every time I have to go there and pay something, I am going to be paying it in singles, in $1 bills. For my own personal, I really don't want to sit there every time and have to wait 2 hours to pay these things. So I'll do the dollar bills, but I'm not going any further than that.
I think you should go in there and pay with that apportionment of gold bullion. And let them go I don't know what to do with that.
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do that.
Pay them in Libyan currency or something. This way you don't even have to convert it when you send it off to them.
You know what would be funny though is if you just tried to do it in coinage of the world. And then just found get a euro, get some marks, get some get some yen.
We got $20 in pesos.
And then
$60 in Russian.
And then a quarter Bitcoin or something. Yeah. just to round it all off. There's there's a Bitcoin. There you go. Enjoy yourself.
Go get yourself something nice.
Yeah. I'm gonna tip you too. Don't eat the yellow snow. All right, what's next, Danielle?
I'm still on Rick Scott because there was 90 stories about Rick Scott this week.
What's this thing with the STEM training thing?
Okay, Rick Scott wants to put $30 million into workforce training in science and technology fields.
In science and technology fields.
Right.
So it's $30 million more, or from the education budget as it is?
No, $30 million more.
And he wants to do it in science and technology.
Right. He says these would be focused on science, technology, engineering, and math occupations.
Okay, we got to go back to the micro thing. What we really need right now is electricians,
right,
plumbers, mechanics.
HVAC, which is your AC and
heating. AC people. There are job openings now for those positions. And this Skeletor-looking stupid man wants to spend it on what now?
Science and math.
So we need more math teachers.
Yeah, this would focus on science, technology, engineering, and math occupations.
Wait a minute. Since when do Republicans support science?
I don't know.
But this is...
I can't answer that question for you, Greg.
This is in addition to the $12 million that is expected to be spent on the quick response training program that helps train new or expanding businesses. Which, when I first thought quick response training, I thought it was going to be for fire, EMT. No. Quick response training is for new and expanding businesses. It's a little business help.
I know libertarians get put in a weird predicament in this one because, we don't want the government to be funding any education at all. But it's written in the state constitution that as a state, we're going to be doing this. It just really sucks that they really just blow the money. Yeah. They totally blow the money. And again, we talked about it on the show, with the Micro's JobWorks, with what Micro is doing. And this guy is going everywhere he possibly can. Now, Rick Scott could actually do something good right here and say that what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing on getting people into the trades. That's what he could have done. And he could have said, yeah, we're going to focus people on getting people into the trades. It's what's needed for Florida. There's going to be openings positions. Like, he could take, this guy's all about the jobs, right? Because he doesn't know anything else that's going on in Tallahassee. All he knows is the job stuff, right?
Well, he loves to be at ribbon cuttings.
Yeah, he loves to cut ribbons. His job, he thinks, is to cut ribbons.
If you looked
about Liberty County sheriffs, but other than that.
But if you look at really what Rick Scott does, like when they say he's not in the office, he is almost never in the office because he is at every ribbon cutting throughout the state. If you will let him cut the ribbon on your business, he will be there even if you employ 3 people.
You know what?
Then he'll take credit for you opening that business and taking all the risk. He'll be like, look what I brought Florida.
We never did a ribbon cutting for the studio. Do you think we could get Rick Scott to come and do a ribbon cutting for the studio?
I would not trust him around us with sharp objects.
Well, that's a good point.
We'd have to give him a fake scissor.
Give him like a really giant plastic scissors.
Well, can we give him like kids' scissors? You think that would be okay?
Safety scissors?
Yeah, give him safety scissors.
I don't know.
Real dull ones, too, because I want him when he's cutting it to just really have a hard time with it. I don't know what to do. Let's burn it.
Just hang it all up.
Yeah.
I need money. Someone to do this.
Well, I'm sure he'll want to drug test the ribbon beforehand to ensure that it doesn't have any kind of drugs in it, any illicit material whatsoever. God, I hate Rick Scott.
Yeah, this is above. There was an $8.5 million grant that was intended, and then they say intended to be used to train 6,500 employees, including 4,500 that was anticipated to be in new jobs. Those jobs haven't necessarily materialized, which we have talked about before, is that we've spent a lot of money in these training programs for jobs that still don't exist.
And I know we talked about it earlier. I just want to reiterate this. That's what irks me, because we were driving around Monday and Tuesday down in the Miami area. Had some business we had to take care of down there. And there's just no good AM radio down there.
At all.
And I do really like listening to AM radio when I'm having to drive around. And so I am forced to listen to Hannity and Rush. And I like listening to those guys from time to time only for the simple fact that I like to know what the enemy's doing. But in listening to Hannity and Rush, especially Hannity, like, if you question his shillness for the GOP, you really shouldn't. It's not like, I'm a conservative, I don't carry water for the GOP. Look, that man has a system in place that systematically carries water for the GOP. Like, it's not even close.
It's like a levy and puller system.
Yeah, it's a levy and puller system, exactly. He brings Rick Scott on and talks about how all these jobs have been created and how Rick Scott's doing a great thing, and totally discounts the fact, that the only reason the unemployment number is down is because people quit looking for jobs.
Right.
The same report that you will use to burn Obama is the same report you use to praise Rick Scott.
Right.
Hypocrisy. Just hold on. Oh, just smell that hypocrisy. It smells like pine oil.
Smells like victory.
Yeah, smells like victory. What movie is that, Danielle? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Apocalypse Now.
Oh, yeah. It's a movie.
Which really had a lot of famous people in it, actually.
Yeah. Star-studded cast.
Never even heard of it.
Harrison Ford was in it. Not very long, though.
He was
4 minutes.
Yeah. He was in it for as long as Vin Diesel was in Saving Private Ryan.
No, Vin had him beat for days.
Well, yeah, that's true. He actually got the top.
He got 3 scenes.
But this is not the only thing that Rick Scott is spending an enormous amount of money on. Rick Scott is also spending $130 million to improve quality and flow of water in the Florida Everglades and Lake Okeechobee. He also has the intention to seek $55 million to protect and maintain the state's natural springs, and which is up from $10 million in the original budget. The Senate is also looking for a $220 million package to improve water quality in South Florida waterways, while a $380 million springs protection package is being drafted. So we're looking at, they're saying that there's going to be like $1 billion surplus, and they've spent more than $1 billion just to improve water quality in Florida.
It is ridiculous what they blow money on.
There's also going to be an increase to the transportation budget to $8.8 billion. It was below that before. A $35 million increase for Visit Florida, which is the tourist kind of...
$35 million?
No. That's the increase, which will bring that budget up to $100 million.
So they're increasing it by $35 million to a total budget of $100 million to convince people to vacation in Florida.
Yeah, the state with the most beaches and Disney.
More people come here to vacation from all around the world than they go to anywhere else. Do we really need an advertising campaign for that?
I would let Disney advertise, because they do a pretty good job.
And they have their own advertising budget.
Right,
It's not our tax dollars.
Exactly. So I definitely think that we didn't need to spend $100 million. There's also going to be a nearly $40 million increase to the Department of Children and Families budget, which will bring that budget to $2.8 billion. And $3.2 million to train law enforcement.
All right. Let's get some Victory motorcycles out of that.
Well, here's the thing.
I would like to say now that if we're going to use any more monetary numbers, that I wanted the equivalent to Victory motorcycles.
We want to know how many Victory motorcycles that would buy.
Yes. At $30,000 a pop, how many Victory motorcycles can you buy with that?
With $3.2 million?
Yes. Can you do the math on that? Do you know what that is?
Start a biker gang.
Well, hold on. If it was 100,000,
it's going to be 1,000?
Okay, there you go.
I think it's going to be 1,000.
I got you. Okay. All right. Good to go.
But, and this is what you have to look at. There's a $3.2 million increase to train new law enforcement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But $35 million for the Visit Florida Fund. So the advertising budget went up $35 million to say, hey, guess what, guys? We have Disney.
Yeah, right.
But only $3.2 million to train law enforcement better.
Oh, man.
Because nobody knows that Disney and the beaches are in Florida.
Right.
But who will misallocate the funds?
But who will shoot the dogs?
Yes. But who will misallocate the funds?
Well, maybe they're shooting the dogs because nobody's putting any money into training them.
Who's going to hit the potholes if we don't get more people to come to this state?
Exactly.
So, I thought it was a very skewed kind of the way that they're doing budgeting. But that's not the only, financial nightmare that Rick Scott is having to deal with. Because although he likes to spend $35 million to say, hey, we have Disney here and water and beaches, he can't get the Connect unemployment site working. This has been plagued with problems, just like healthcare.gov. $63 million went into the unemployment website, and nobody can get on it and use it.
Unbelievable. Look, but who will mess up websites?
Apparently anyone in government, by the way. It
looks like the inability to make a website that works, it shows bipartisan support.
But who will withhold our money from us?
Yes.
And here's the thing is, because we always talk about, our process in building a website and how we're screaming and yelling at each other. And it costs us, under $100, and it's done within 2 days.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm sure these guys do, some funky stuff on a website, but, is $62 million to make a website that don't work?
63.
Or that doesn't work? $63 million to make a website that doesn't work. Now, here's the funny part, by the way. Democrats are the ones that are coming out here slamming Rick Scott's handling of Connect. Are you guys serious? Are you really do you people who support Obamacare have the nerve to get mad at Rick Scott because he can't build a website? Come on. This is the teapot calling the kettle black right here. This is hypocrisy. Here, again, smells like pine oil, folks. Hypocrisy. You people make me sick. Perry Thurston, shut your mouth. The Florida House Democratic leader, the governor, he's sitting there like a king. You mean like Obama? King Richard or something, and he's not talking to the people. You mean like Obama? If the people were writing a $3,000 campaign check, I assure you their needs would be going on unmet. You mean like Obama's been doing about getting people to have to pay before they can get into the White House? Are you kidding me? You people are pathetic. Perry Thurston, you're pathetic. You political opportunist scumbag, you're pathetic. You, Allison Tate, Lori Berman, all of you people, Charlie Chris, the lots of you. The lots of you suck. You got no room to talk to anybody about a website not working. Seriously, you got no room to talk. It's unbelievable that you people have the nerve that you do to complain about a website that doesn't work. They spent hundreds of millions of dollars for the Obamacare disaster website.
600 million.
600 million, and you guys can't get that thing to work. And then when it does work, nobody wants to sign up for it anyway. So now what are you doing? You're going into the worst neighborhoods that you possibly can go to, putting signs up in Spanish, and having people pay for it. You know how I know that, by the way? In the mall. You know how I know? I saw your booth down in Miami.
Oh, we have pictures.
Yeah, I actually have a picture of the booth, the Obamacare booth in Miami.
In the mall.
In Spanish.
In the mall.
I couldn't even read what that thing was. The only reason I knew is because it had Obama's little commie logo on it.
Right, and it was Obama's logo. This wasn't like a logo for the ACA or anything else. This was literally Obama's campaign logo. And they had people there, the navigators there, to sign people up for Obamacare.
Yeah. It took every fiber in my being to not actually just pull a Jesus.
Flip the table.
I wanted to just flip the tables. I wanted to pull a Jesus. I just looked at it and I was like, man, I could just go over there right now and just flip this thing over. You know?
It was.
But
I was so upset, and then I was like, I have to take a picture of this. Like, this is ridiculous. You know, this was after I tried to go to the bathroom and had to, roll back every Spanish word I knew to be able to tell this woman that I needed to pee.
It really is one of these things where when you see, and again, look, Rick Scott is, they suck. So I'm not going to, this is not like, the Republicans are doing well and I'm favoring them. They suck. But Democrats, you have no room to talk about something like this. I don't even know how you drive a car, Perry Thurston, with as big as your balls have to be to have the nerve to say something about this.
I mean, it just goes to show, nobody's looking out for the people. Everyone is like, well, Rick Scott made a website that doesn't work. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around, by the way.
Yeah, it's a pretty common theme in government lately. You bunch of... But who will make the crappy websites that nobody can use?
It's a good thing that the government didn't give us the internet. It's a good thing that it is a private computer system built by everybody that has skills, because the government would not do it.
God, they suck. Yeah. God, you guys suck out loud. It's annoying. It really is. You know what's more annoying? We're called the crazy ones.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more annoying that I'm considered the extremist. I'm considered this radical person that, just wants, God forbid I'd want the government to, leave me alone. I know that's a crazy, horrible, racist, misogynist. You picked the derogatory statement there. I know that having people be free to live their lives as they see fit, as long as they don't do any harm or another, is such a horrible notion. But we only have just example after example after example of how anything that this government does, whether it's Democrats in charge, whether it's Republicans in charge, you guys could fuck up a wet dream.
I love it.
They really could, man. And I went the whole day without cursing.
They have.
Yes.
Quite honestly. Wasn't Obamacare their wet dream?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, single payer was the wet dream.
Well,
Obamacare was just the foreplay.
Yeah.
So, and that's what they're doing. Honestly, that's why the website's messed up. Look, they made Facebook in a college dorm. You made Facebook, which everybody uses. Everybody uses Facebook. Don't get me wrong, it took advances later on, and they kept getting things going. But, oh, Jesus, you people suck so bad. People are just... how do you vote for these people? I don't even understand. When somebody's like, well, I'm just going to vote for the Republican or the Democrat, I'm like, what? Why? Why would you do this? Do you not see what they do? Quit watching American Idol, for Pete's sake.
Do you know how much a photo op with Rick Scott goes for?
How much? 3 Victory motorcycles.
In dollars. How much do you think it goes for?
Oh, you think they're selling Victory motorcycles and fish? No, I'm sorry.
Trading clams?
I'm going to go 5,000.
You would be incorrect. Greg?
I'm going to go $3,500.
You would also be incorrect.
Hold on, higher or lower?
Higher.
Okay. I get the next. No, I get the next guess. I get the next guess. 7,000.
Actually, I was going to say $7,800.
You still both be too low. It is $10,000.
Oh my God!
$10,000 to get Rick Scott to show up at your event.
No, that's just to take a photo that he's already at.
Oh my God!
This was a campaign fundraiser for the PAC Let's Get to Work, where the price of admission. Remember, just to get in, you had to pay $2,500. For a $10,000 donation, you could get a picture with the governor.
Photoshop is cheaper.
Yeah.
You know what kind of Photoshop package you could buy with $10,000?
For $10,000, I can make cardboard cutouts of Rick Scott and charge everybody $3 to get a picture taken.
I think it would only take like a couple $1,000s to get like a wax figure of Rick Scott and take him around and say, "Would you?"
Oh, there might even be some Republicans that are going to have an idea to do that now. Like, I can't even believe you would say that out loud. That ain't even right.
Isn't that the one that got elected, though?
The wax figure.
I don't know. I can't believe
the animatronic.
Again, this guy's a candidate. Like, this guy's the candidate for office. I'm going to charge you $10,000 if you want to snap a photo with me.
He's not even the candidate. He's in the office. He works for us.
Yeah, well, he works for $10,000 for a picture, obviously.
And one of his large donors, who was actually at this fundraiser, was Anthony Principe, who was a former secretary of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, also the head of a large lobbying group in D.C. And for his $10,000 donation, he also landed a $1.8 million contract with the state.
Man. Cronyism. Hold on.
You got to spend money to make money. That's how it
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it's a good return on investment.
It is.
You get, invest $10,000 and you get back $1.8 million.
Man.
Hey, when you buy a congressman, it is worth every penny. Just ask J.P. Morgan.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. This is just, folks, all we can do is tell you the news. All we can do is show you the blatant hypocrisy of all of this stuff. What you choose to do with this information is up to you, but man, like I said, I'd have a hard time ever voting for any of these. It really is a turd sandwich versus a big giant douche. It really is all of that in a bag of chips.
Now, with the large amounts of campaign cash running in and the fact that PPP is completely liars, we have learned that Rick Scott is gaining ground on Charlie Crist. Charlie Crist only leads a few percentage points in the polling, about 2 percentage points. And this is what I find interesting, is there is a steady amount that is a little under 16% that refuses to vote for either one of them and will either say undecided or other. So they're not including Adrian Wiley's name, but they have to be pissed off that 16% of the people that they poll still will not pick the candidates that they put in.
Yeah. The problem with PPP, and this is a big problem, is that they are liars. Now, the other problem is last time they polled Wiley, he polled at 9.8, right?
8.7.
Or 8.7%. The fact, and the reason the PPP story, we talked about this, is that PPP put out a poll after Wiley was polled. In that poll, they showed that they didn't include Wiley, and so we started contacting PPP. Public Policy Polling is the name of the place. Now, we did a mini full court press on him. It wasn't even a long one. It was a mini one.
It was a few hours.
Yeah, it was a few hours, and we got a response back from PPP that says if you guys stop what you're doing, we'll include them in the next poll.
They said stop contacting us.
Yeah, stop contacting us. And what numbers to dial, by the way?
If you would like to call PPP, their main office number is 888-621-6988. If you'd like to phone directly to the director, who is Tom Jensen, his number is 919-744-6312, or the CEO of Public Policy Polling is Dean Debnam. His number is 919-880-4888. That is all of the numbers to contact PPP, because last October, after we contacted them for a few hours, they said stop contacting us and we promised to include Wiley in the next poll. A new poll has come out, which they excluded Adrian again. And when we contacted them, their reasoning for excluding them is no one in the public said that they wanted Adrian Wiley in the poll.
So they tell us to not contact them and we'll include them in the poll. We do what they ask, naively so. And then they say, well, because you didn't contact us, we're not going to include them in the poll. So we have a new tactic now with PPP. And the new tactic, I don't know what that is, by the way. I don't know, but the new tactic is going to be this. Burn their phone lines. Burn their email servers. Contact them every day. Call them up. Leave a message. Put Adrian Wiley in the next poll and just hang up if that's what you want to do. If you want to do something as simple as calling them, leaving a message, include Adrian Wiley in your poll, and then do that. Matter of fact, Greg, why don't you get the phone ready? Because we're going to do one of the calls right impromptu right now. Give them a phone number. We're going to call. We're going to tell them we're live on the air. We're going to ask them why they didn't include Adrian Wiley in the poll. We'll see if they actually pick up the phone. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Dean.
I know we didn't talk about that beforehand, but I just thought of it.
That's all right. Let's try the CEO. Okay.
Okay, what's that number?
919.
919. Oh, wait. Hey, let's get all the numbers in before we dial. Okay.
Let's do that.
919.
Got it.
880-4888.
All right, we're going to do this live on the air.
Yeah, live on the air.
The suspense is killing me.
I know.
Dean, right?
Dean.
Dean can't come to the phone right now. Please leave a message.
Hey, Dean, this is Alex Snicker. You're live on the air. We wanted to make sure to give you a call with Danielle Alexandre and Greg Bowen.
With the Liberty Underground
With the
Show.
Liberty Underground Show to find out why you guys decided to lie to the Wiley campaign and not let them in the next polling even after you had claimed that you were going to do this. Now, I know that you've received a lot of phone calls, which is why you guys are probably hiding under your desk as we speak while we are making phone calls to your organization. And I just wanted to make sure that you were completely aware that they will not stop until you actually include him in the poll. I'd like to thank you very much. Go ahead, Danielle.
No, I'm actually looking at their Facebook page, and it seems like the supporters are still contacting them about hourly, so it's not going to stop.
Yes. So I appreciate the fact that you guys lied to us, and now that you have done that, we are going to make sure that we contact you until you include Adrian in your next poll. Have a great day.
WileyForGovernor.com.
WileyForGovernor.com.
That was
That
fun.
was awesome. Here's the thing. Every Friday until they include him in the poll,
Yes.
we are making a call.
It needs to
every
be like
Friday.
the 11:45 call.
Yes, the 11:45 call will be that, actually.
PPP 11:45. It'll be on the schedule.
And guess who we have on the line with us now?
Is it the interrupter?
It is the man himself, Adrian Wiley.
Yes, can set a promo for a show, doesn't realize when the show's on. Mr. Wiley, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing quite well. How are you? And as we know, I'm occasionally chronologically challenged. I was actually listening to you on Tan Talk, and I got back in the car in between appointments here and turned on Tan Talk and saw that you weren't any longer on the air, and I said, "Oh, show's over. I can call."
Yeah, because that hour 3 just exists in some alternate universe. Did you know we just... we were on the phone with somebody else before we got you on the phone. We were actually calling PPP.
Really?
Yeah, we called them live on the air. We left a message. Well, we actually kind of did a little bit of the show on the message, but we did leave a message informing them that this will continue. And we have now made an executive decision at the Liberty Underground show that every Friday PPP will receive a call live on the air.
At 11:45.
At 11:45 until you are included in the polling.
I like that. That's awesome. And, I did want to ask you, Alex, who is that sitting in for Danielle today, the woman you've got on the show with you?
Her name is Teresa, and she's a very nice woman.
Oh, well, good, because I knew that couldn't be Danielle, my campaign manager and dear friend, espousing in the first hour that we actually allow the government to permit any type of civil union. I couldn't imagine her ever taking that.
Oh, he's going down the library argument with you.
You know, and like I said, I would like to see government completely out of it, but I think that's a step in the right direction until we can get because the federal government is there's still going to be that balance of the federal government, and people are still going to want a permit because there's no other way to get the benefits from the IRS. I would like to get rid of the IRS as well and all of the benefits, and until that time, I think we have to have a bridge, and that would be the bridge that could be easily taken away.
Response, Mr. Wiley.
I disagree. I personally believe that basically you just tell the IRS you're married and have them prove otherwise. And if you could present some sort of legal document, not necessarily state recognized, that would be a battle worth having with the IRS. So I don't like the concept of incorporating state laws just to comply with some form of ridiculous federal law. I think we really need to lead the charge. And one thing you can do to actually go forward in repealing all marriage licensing laws on the state level, Danielle, is to actually vote Adrian Wiley for governor.
That's how you do it, huh? Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that. I actually thought I had to dance a jig, so I didn't realize that was what you had
Danielle, to do. I'm just having a little fun with you. I realize that, many consider that a good stopgap measure, but, I think we need to go on full on and get the government completely out of the marriage business, and then we'll deal with the legal ramifications and perhaps do a Supreme Court challenge on behalf of, married couples in Florida against the IRS. I would be willing, and I'm sure Bill Walsifer would be willing to lead that charge.
Well, definitely in that case, we could do that. It's one of those, there is going to be a huge legal battle because constitutionally the federal government is allowed to tax. They're not allowed to tax the way they're doing it. They can't do a direct tax, but they can do an indirect tax. And we do have to we have to find a way to settle the two.
And one thing I did want to add here, I do wish Adrian good luck on Saturday when you are in the car with Danielle for a 3-hour period, considering you called her out not but 24 hours prior to that. So I wish you well. I enjoyed our friendship. I think it was fun. I will speak well of you at the reception at the wake. I will speak well of you there, and I will try to continue on the fight for liberty. With the memory of Adrian Wiley. So good for that.
It's a 5-hour.
I think I've just made an executive decision here. I think the campaign will be paying cab fare for Danielle.
Yeah, that's a really small space for 5 hours.
Ramification.
Yes, I don't think you fully thought through your phone call today, sir.
That's right.
Probably didn't.
Alex has made that mistake in the past. And he's speaking from experience, and you're in the warning to you.
You know what, though? There is a chance you can make it out alive, though. There is a chance. I give you 70-30. 70% you die, 30% you make it out. Out of that 30%, there's a small chance you might lose a limb, but it just depends on how much. Make sure she eats a lot before. That way, she's not nearly as hungry, so she kind of loses a little bit of energy when it comes to like gnawing off the arm and stuff.
I was going to say bribe her by stopping at the first IHOP you see.
Oh yeah, now you put some IHOP, you get some IHOP in her. That's a whole different game. All's forgiven.
That will calm her and change her disposition, and you will make it out alive.
Yes, IHOP. I highly suggest it. Matter of fact, US 19 in Newport Richie, there is an IHOP. You have probably enough time that when you pick her up, that she'll be kind of ravenous for a couple minutes, like rah, 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 and then you can get to the IHOP, get her in there, and then she'll calm down.
I'm going to stop before I come pick her up and have some to-go pancakes ready for her as
And that's why
before she even gets in the car.
And that's why he's running for governor, folks. WileyForGovernor.com, because he's smart enough to do that ahead of time. Good job, brother. It's a very good move. He's very proactive. Way to be proactive. But who will buy the IHOP?
Yeah.
But who will
and, on a great note, I just want to thank you guys for and thank everyone listening for the tremendous outpouring of support for the campaign to PPP. I know their phones are just being wrung off the hook, and their email boxes are all full. I was hearing stories yesterday that they have stopped answering their phone system altogether as of yesterday. It looks like today they're back to answering.
Oh, no, we didn't get a hold of anyone.
They're still getting hammered.
Well, we didn't get a hold of anybody today.
And I did check their Facebook page, and they're still getting hammered on the comments.
Yeah. Well, they put themselves in this position. The last time they excluded my name from the poll, they got hammered, and they promised that they would include me in the next poll, and the next poll rolls around. And some of the early people to call in and email did get responses. And the response was, well, if you wanted us to include them in the poll, you should have made that suggestion beforehand.
Yeah,
and I don't know about you, but I would consider the hundreds, perhaps thousands of people that called them a couple of months ago about this, those should have been considered suggestions, wouldn't you think?
Well, that and they said
more demands.
No, but they said that we shouldn't contact them and we'll put him in the poll. So it's not even that. They said not to contact them.
Right. They told us, please stop calling and we'll include them.
Yeah, that's what they said. So then because I've seen some of the emails that have come in from his responses, for them to make the statement of, well, you guys didn't call us, so why would we put them in the poll? Like, what? Like, this scumbags all around. Anything else?
Well, it'll be interesting to see if they're actually objective or if they're just like so many of the other pollsters and media bought and paid for by the establishment. Well, only time will tell.
Well, St. Pete Polls is the only one that's included you in the poll, and for that, I tip my hat to them. So at least they were the ones that have included you. Well, hopefully they continue to do that process and see if you can. I'd like to see where you're at right now. I'm thinking you might be in double digits. So.
I think there's a good possibility of that, and growing every day.
Yep, and growing every day. Kind of like my waistline. All right. Well, Adrian Wiley, we appreciate it very much. What's the website, sir, in case anybody wants to know about your campaign for governor?
That would be WileyForGovernor.com, WYLLIEFOR Governor.com. Check us out.
I'll have to check that one out. I haven't ever seen it yet, so I'll have to see if that's a good
bad.
website.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, I'll have to vet you a little bit and see if you're worthy of support here. So
maybe he'll make a Facebook page for you after.
Yeah, maybe. Piss off, Greg. Adrian, thanks a lot, brother.
Talk hard, and Danielle, there'll be lots of pancakes tomorrow. I promise.
Lots of pancakes for the Danielle.
It's a long trip, just saying.
It's the only thing I'm ever nervous about with Danielle. Like, if she gets into public office, like, will she be bribed with pancakes? You know, like, is pancakes enough? Like, are you willing to? Like, what are you willing to do for pancakes, Danielle? Is it pay to play for pancakes?
It's more not yell at you. I may talk calmlier as I tell you no.
Calmlier.
Is that even a real word?
No, it's not.
No, she just
I've totally made it up.
That.
Yeah.
Oh, you just made it up?
Yeah.
I love it.
He was one of the people that called when I had to go get the phone. And I go, are you kidding me? He's like, what? I'm like, you guys are off. I'm like, no, we're not, man. It's not even noon yet. So But it is about now. It's about noon now.
Yeah.
Again, guys, thanks for listening to the show today. If you were listening to the show, if our website address, 1787network.com, there's a whole lot of stuff other than the show that's on the website. Matter of fact, Danielle has put up, well, no, she hasn't actually put much up, but...
Wow, you see how he gets when he knows I'm going to be gone for the weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Danielle's got some great stuff up there, but some good articles that are going on up there, some good, the podcasts are there, the rants are there, all the other stuff is there. Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
Mass hysteria, sorry. I was in the middle of typing something.
What
And
are you doing?
He missed it too, so.
Well, I was letting you guys do it this time. Cats and dogs living together.
Mass hysteria.
There you go. All right, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Again, if you don't hear from us next week, then more than likely the NSA has put us in a detention center somewhere, and we will probably not have internet access. So if you could find us at that point, it would be very much appreciated. Have a good day.
We'll send up smoke signals.
We'll try to set up smoke signals. Have a good day.